Great White Hot Sauce. It's a small batch, handmade hot sauce made especially for you. You can find it at www.trygreatwhite.com. It's also sponsored by South Florida Allied Health, located in Boca Raton, Florida, specializing in men's health, women's health, medical weight loss, IV therapy infusion, testosterone therapy, and hormone replacement therapy. Florida residents only. Well, here we are, episode 105. Climbing that ladder to 200. We'll get there. On this episode, we're going to talk about a bunch of things. We're going to talk about some bands that we think should have made it further than they did. We're going to talk a little bossa nova. Yeah. Brazilian jazz. It's my favorite. And a bunch of other things. Mixed bag tonight. And we got a full boat. We got the Wrecking Two, Mark Smith and Lou Calicchio from the Relish Podcast, and Jack is back. How long before Jack gets on my nerves? That's the question. As of this recording, if he even shows up. The over-under is 4 minutes. We'll see.
The KOFB studio presents Milk Crates and Turntables, a music discussion podcast hosted by Scott McLean. Now, let's talk music. Enjoy the show.
Thank you, Amanda, for that wonderful introduction. As usual, young Amanda is home from college this summer, driving me crazy already, but that's okay. I love her. She's my little girl. And yeah, again, welcome to the podcast. You know the name, I'm not going to say it. We're streaming live right now over Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, D-Live, a lot of streaming services. Live. Interesting show this week. Jack is back, as I said. And of course, not on time. Well, he'll say he was on time because, well, technically the podcast hasn't started, but he came in during the intro, you know, fashionably late, fashionably, February. And I'm not even going to give him just let's hear his Jack. Yeah, I know. Yeah, good. Nice try. He's trying to mouth it like, oh, Jack's mic isn't working. After 2 years, you think you're going to get me on that? Still trying.
How you doing, man?
Good. What's up, my brother? Not
too much.
Yeah?
Oh, my boo. A little bit of everything, you know? Although it's concert season and we're hitting it hard this year. We got a bunch that we're going to, which is really kind of fun.
Okay.
Are you seeing a lot of shows or any shows at all this year?
Hold on. I'm going to switch out of Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Let's see. You yet? Stream's having connection issues. Fuck. Here we go. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, good. Gonna fucking stop playing games with me now. Here we go. I get 4 greens. I haven't seen anything that I'm interested in yet. We will be attending the Nick Cave concert in Boston in what was it, September?
October 10th.
Okay. Yeah. Up to that, no, I haven't seen.
I hope nobody that I work with is listening to, but I literally have like the biggest meeting that we have of the year in a dinner, in a cocktail reception in between, and I'm literally gonna just ease out of the cocktail reception, and thankfully it's in Boston, and run across town and meet you and Phil. Right? You going with Phil?
Yes.
Yeah. meet you guys and go to the show, and then just slink back to my hotel and say, "Oh yeah, dinner was great. Yeah, it was fantastic."
My chat just fucking went offline. What the fuck? Let me see.
Oh my God! See, this is why
there we go. It's back.
Do this podcast anymore.
And look how it pops up. Mark Talent says, in reference to Jack, it's about effing time.
That's right. Damn straight.
Yeah. You know what else is about time? What the fuck? He's going to go get a sandwich. While Jack's going to get a sandwich, is Mark Smith and Lou Calicchio from the Music Relish Podcast, The Wrecking 2.
Hey.
Enough of that. You guys aren't. You're not new any. It's like, how many times did it take for you to go over your friend's house before you weren't a guest anymore?
You no one ever does that with me. I'm always the guest that has to ask to come in.
You not really vampire.
I'll tell you guys. Like when my kids had their friends over, I used to tell them all the time, "Look, you have moved beyond guest status,
right?
Do your fucking dishes."
Yeah, exactly.
So we're not at the kiddie table anymore.
No. I don't even know. I don't even have to send you invitations anymore, do I?
No, I looked up
it's
the old one.
Same link as always.
Glad to be
Can
here.
I read it on the air?
So, gentlemen, how's everything on the Music Relish Podcast?
Good. We got a Music Relish radio show coming up this Sunday, I believe.
Explain to Jack in the audience what that is.
Yeah. So over the years, Perry and I have recorded and written a shit ton of songs that we recorded, some in studios, but a lot of home recordings.
Perry Dedovich, friend of the show, AI.
Yeah.
He's an AI.
I can confirm that. And so lately we've been airing an episode where we did like 5 or 6 of our original songs. One of them are some collaborations we did with Mark. We did one song with Mark. And a friend of Perry's, they've been doing some recording, so we did one of their songs, but mostly Perry and my stuff. A couple of solo tracks, a couple by me, a couple by him, and some collaborations. So fun stuff. And
oh my God, that's awesome, guys! I love that you guys are doing that. That's fantastic,
Jack. So you heard the new intro song, right? The
I
acoustic,
did.
That's Lou. Lou did that song.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's really good. I heard it on one of the shows. And is
he getting any hot sauce or anything?
I'm supposed to get some hot sauce. Actually,
oh, here we go.
Hasn't gotten here yet.
Yeah, it's in the mail.
Yeah.
It
ain't my mouth. It ain't my mouth yet.
Hey Lou, get a tracking number.
Yeah, you guys.
Prove it.
So
hey, before you guys came in, Scott and I were chatting a little bit. Concert season is here. Are you guys going to anything this summer?
Not at the moment.
I got my annual Dead and Company truck with my son-in-law, and there'll be more in this area. Like all of a sudden, tickets go on sale in June for shows in like September. It's just weird here.
Yeah.
So I know like this month, next month, I'm going to see like, oh shit, I gotta go to that. So I like to go to theater shows. Not the biggest places.
Where are you seeing Dead and Company?
City Field, where the Mets play. Kind of wish.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a nice theater.
Nice. There's nothing like being with a Dead fans on a hot summer night. It's just great.
Oh, yeah, marijuana, patchouli, and PO.
Yeah, smelling like New Jersey on a good night. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And so you want to be outside. You don't want to be inside. So.
Yeah.
Is John Mayer still playing with them?
Yeah, it's their last tour. They're breaking up after this one. He's doing one more. He's the reason I go. He's just great with them.
He's amazing.
He is.
He's absolutely amazing.
You know who else was amazing? I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. I would be remiss. I was gonna say, Jack, what's up with the?
Wait a minute. Did you just say remissed?
Yeah.
Guys? Did you hear that?
I'd be remiss if I didn't say.
I'd like him to be more Pacific. I'm going to Poughkeepsie for some shows.
Scott, did you say remissed?
I said remissed.
Uh-huh.
I did.
He said it again.
I did. I repeated what you said. You want to give me the correct pronunciation, Jackoff?
Remiss.
Remiss. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah.
We've made it 5 minutes, Scott. You haven't gotten pissed off yet.
Yeah. Well, I would be remiss if I did not
10 minutes.
really jump right in and say rest in peace to two icons today. Two icons. One, the ultimate bad guy, the greatest heel in the history of wrestling, the man who created Hulkamania, because without him, Hulkamania would never have existed. Rest in peace, Iron Sheik. And in honor of his passing, I would like to say, Ivan number one, USA, Hatui.
It's kind of before my time, you know.
The Iron Sheik is timeless. Are you kidding me?
I remember.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. And also, rest in peace, Astrud Gilberto.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Bossa Nova icon. Basically, one piece of the creators of Bossa Nova, which is Brazilian jazz. Amazing story behind her. She's, for those that might not know, she was the original. She sang The Girl from Ipanema, right? But she was only part of the original recording.
Mm-hmm.
So the original recording was her husband, Yau Gilberto, and he would sing it. He's singing it, and they were playing in the studio, and I think it was they wanted to have someone sing it in English, but none of the Brazilians in the studio could speak English except for Astrud Gilberto. So that's how she got that part to sing in the original version. Tall and slender, and she's the one that sang that. So they were like, and they heard her sing, and they were like, Jesus, she wasn't a professional singer.
Yeah,
but she does that song amazingly.
Yeah, to the point where they said, well, you know what? Let's just cut her singing the whole song, right? So there is quite a story behind it. I won't get into the whole story. You can look it up. It's very interesting. But the thing that came up of that is, did you know that The Girl from Ipanema is the second most recorded song behind Yesterday?
I'm not surprised.
No kidding. Huh?
Yeah. Second most recorded song behind Yesterday. That's amazing.
And
her vocals.
Covered without being recorded. How many bands have just played that song and then whatever?
Yeah.
Just to play it. It's probably one of the most played songs too.
Legendary song. What were you saying, Jack?
I was just going to say, I mean, that song probably wouldn't have been nearly as popular without her singing. I mean, she doesn't have to be the best singer in the world. It's a chemistry thing.
Yeah.
What's her delivery? It's kind of a distant, nonchalant,
very detached almost. It's
I have something else to do type thing. Now,
if you just imagine if they had gotten a professional to sing it, they really would have remissed an opportunity.
That's right. Damn right, they would have remissed an opportunity. Absolutely. Anyways,
we remissed you guys being together too.
Yeah.
A lot of people have.
Me and Lou are just going to listen.
No.
I think we're back at the kiddie table again.
Can we have an argument?
No.
So, there's a couple stories that go behind how that song came about. So the first story is Raul Gilberto told his wife, "Listen, I have a surprise for you when we get to the studio." And she said, "What? I'll tell you when we get to the studio." They go to the studio, and she's just sitting there, hanging out. And then it came time for that part. And this is her story. And he said, "We're going to have you sing this." Right? And she's like, "I never sang before." And they get her in there. And you hear the original recording with Raul Gilberto singing. And then she goes into her part. And at one point in the song, for about a second, she's hitting a tone, and you hear him go, he was kind of getting her to pitch up, right? And it's just very subtle. And you kind of like, where did that come from, right? But that's exactly what that was in the original recording, with him singing the lyrics and her doing the breakdown.
It's kind of cool that they kept it. Kind of that could be
They kept
considered
it in there.
a mistake, and they kept it in there,
like
the Mamas and Papas on that one song, California Dreamin'. There's a mistake in there where they fuck up the lyrics, and then they come back in because there was time kept, so they kept the mistake in.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I love when they do little things like that. Like
It works, yeah.
Jack, bring your mic
yeah,
closer.
I mean, the beginning of Roxanne, where he inadvertently sits on the piano keys.
Oh.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, that's what he claims. And the other thing is, I saw like a quick clip of Steven Tyler being interviewed on the Howard Stern show when they were playing Sweet Emotion, and you know how they play that.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's called,
it's
like a
vibra
slap
slap
or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it goes. It has that. He says that it broke.
Ah.
So, but they kept it in.
But it worked.
It worked, yeah.
Yeah.
So the other story is the one that I had just mentioned, is that they wanted somebody to sing it in English, and she was the only Brazilian in there that spoke English. So she sang it, and it came out great. Now, that album, or that let me see, that single went on to it won a Grammy. It won song of the year. She got artist of the year. It just dominated.
Ooh, was that 67 or 6?
7.
67, okay.
Yeah. So the producer was Creed Taylor, right? Now that was on, I believe that was on an album, Getz and Gilberto. Evidently an iconic, to use the word again, jazz album.
Stan Getz on saxophone. We can't forget him on that. Well,
Stan Getz is a fucking schmuck.
He plays Lars in that story too.
Yeah, he's a douchebag.
Oh,
Stan Getz is a total douchebag.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Why is Stan Getz a total douchebag?
Can I get to the fucking story?
I was excited for your story.
And I'm getting to how Stan Getz is a douchebag.
I don't know why you're yelling at me. I'm here to support you. I love this story so far. It's great.
Yeah. You know what, Jack? Hey, guys, check this out. Jack, penalty box.
Yes. Oh, you were talking about the penalty box in the beginning of the show, weren't you? It was like a free pay. He gets the penalty box. Yeah. He's got 10 seconds left, right? He'll be eating a sandwich when he comes back.
Yeah.
Any band that puts the guitar player in the penalty box is stupid. Don't put the guitar player. You're nowhere without guitars.
Scott, really? I get news for you. You do it one more time? I'm going to bed.
Oh, the show. What will happen to the show? Oh my God.
Here we go.
Okay, Noel. You want to have a little shit fit? No, we're going to get to your Bob fucking Dylan bullshit 9 album collection that's released 17 times, just in different fucking different order of songs.
I do want to hear about that later.
Yeah, you will in a private conversation. I'll give
you
his phone number.
I'll show you the vinyl I got for my birthday for my son.
I'll give you Jack's phone number.
Really?
You two can discuss.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that right now, unless Scott's going to finally get to this fucking story.
No, I'm going to continue. So
I'll get on my pee break. Don't worry.
So Creed Taylor produced the album, and he gets a call from Stan Getz. Calls his secretary, actually. Gets the secretary and says, yeah, tell him to call me. So Creed thinks that Getz is going to, say, hey, okay, this song's taken off. It's great. Give her a credit. To the contrary, he says, don't give her anything. She gets nothing for this. And she gets the $120 fucking studio fee that they paid backup singers. Right? She makes the whole fucking song.
Right.
So Getz, let me see, she gets $120. Her husband gets $35,000. This is 1967, so that's not bad money. Yeah. They figured that Getz probably made up to $1 million for that.
Because it was on a Getz album. He was the one that,
He took all the credit.
Well, you know what? A jazz artist making money is a rare thing.
Well, Stan Getz also tried to make money one time robbing a fucking drugstore. Piece of shit he was.
He went through his Ace Frehley years.
Yeah, and then he got busted with heroin and, Stan Getz. And then he screws her. But in the end, she becomes way more famous than Stan Getz and makes way more money than he ever made. Because that launched her career.
I'm not defending Stan Getz, but you could tell that story 100, 200 different times of people that got screwed. It was just the way that the industry ran back then. I'm not saying it's right.
Not on a song like that.
Well, they didn't know.
That's a different animal. He knew that shit was taken off, and he could have said, "Hey," and even the producer was thinking, "She's got to get something for this." Like, he's like, "Nah, I'm greedy." And you're right, Jack. You're right. They do that. But he went out of his way to do it. Like, he made a phone call, make sure she gets nothing.
What Stan wants, Stan gets.
Sorry, Lou used that joke earlier in a text. Except he used Bernard Getz.
I used Bernard Getz. You don't look so bad. Here's another.
So, Getz Gilberto, the album, sold more than 2 million copies. That's big.
Yeah.
That's big for that.
So Verve made a lot of money.
Record industry big.
Yeah. And the girl from Ipanema actually isn't her. There is an actual girl who the writer of the song.
The great Antonio Carlos Jobim.
Yep. The girl was a Brazilian teenager named Heloísa Anita Menezes Paes Pinto. I looked her up. Okay looking. I think Astrud Gilberto is better looking. But she'll always be the girl from Ipanema. Yeah. No doubt. And she was actually influential on one of the biggest singers. Did you just look at your watch, asshole? You know what? You're not getting to talk about your fucking Bob Dylan fucking collection. I'm not. You think I need to sit here and watch this bullshit? You think I need to? You know what? I'm gonna drink some fucking coffee. Hold on.
So just so you know, in my defense,
no, I'm not. I don't care about your fucking gay Apple Watch. Nobody cares about your gay Apple Watch.
Here we go, Lou.
Nobody cares.
I can't
look. If you know,
how's your heartbeat, Jack? How's your rhythms? How's your algorithms in your Apple Watch? Does it thump when you're getting excited? Does it thump your wrist?
You sound terribly ignorant when you do that.
I don't care.
It's not a good thing for the show.
I don't care. When do you think I fucking care? Right? Oh, I know. I'm gonna lose Great White Hug. Great White is my sponsor. Oh no! Oh, I'm gonna lose money. Don't care. You know who likes it? The audience. They like it.
All right, let's carry on. Like, what are you going to do? Another fucking half
because I happen to be on the same webpage. I think Scott researched this on. I'm just reading it right now.
What's that?
Yeah, he's quoting it verbatim.
Wikipedia.
No, there was like a bunch of articles about it. Yeah, actually, there's a bunch of articles about it. That's why with articles you'll get one story or another. Yeah. So that's how I ended up with both sides of the story. Because I did my research. So.
You're smart.
I'm smart. I deserve respect.
Not dumb like people say.
I'm smart. And I want respect.
Scott, go pick up somebody from the airport. Scott, go run some Mickey Mouse nightclub.
That's what Jack always tells me to do.
But he was banging cocktail waitress 2 at a time.
Hey man, that's the way Pop wanted it. Well, it's not the way I wanted it.
You got to talk into the mic, Jack. I know it's been a while.
I was getting excited.
He was in the method.
Let me see. Am I done? I think I might have some more information on this.
Mark mentioned Antonio Carlos Jobim. Did you mention that?
He's one of my favorite composers. And I have some recordings of him and Pat Metheny together. They're holy grail for me.
There's the albums he did with Frank Sinatra.
Yes.
Scott, have you heard that stuff?
Who also covered "Girl from Ipanema."
Yeah, and like '69, I think they did those albums. But songs like "Wave," "Agua de Beber," "Drink Water," it's got that beat. Oh, "Wave" is great, man. Great lyrics.
Did I have Sinatra Sunday at my house every Sunday morning? I get Sinatra.
You do.
I'll tell you with great pride. Awesome. I love to tell people that I had the opportunity to see Mr. Sinatra 3 times.
Oh, you mentioned, you did mention that one time.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the later years, but I hope it was good.
Oh yeah. But one of them was actually a little bit early. It was first time I saw him was 1980, which is still later years, but not crazy later years. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not like dysfunctional Alzheimer's. I don't know where I am here.
He could pull up New York.
Yeah.
Jack, pull your mic a little closer.
Jesus Christ.
You've been doing this fucking podcast with me off and on for how many years now? I'm a fucking sound freak.
Dude, Sinatra in those later years, he was slipping. He was like, all right, I'm going to kick up the band and we're going to do the Girl from Iwo Jima.
And they came out with a big flag.
Do you remember the Howard Stern parodies of him?
Oh yeah,
I've got you under my house. It's just
hey, get out of here before I have my legs broken.
Frankie.
All right, let me see. So that's Astrud Gilberto. Rest in peace. 2 icons that I really, really, really liked. Gone in one day.
Do you like Brazilian, that kind of music in general?
So a Brazilian girl that I worked with, about 6 years ago, turned me on to Brazilian jazz, bossa nova. She knows I listen to a lot of stuff. She actually initially turned me on to Bebel Gilberto, which was Astrud Gilberto's daughter. Yeah. And I sent you that video yesterday, right?
She's great.
And she sounds just like her mother. And actually, I was about to say, before Jack interrupted me, there's 2 big singers, one more popular than the other, that was very influenced by Astrud Gilberto. And one of them is Sade.
Yeah.
Sade said she was a big influence on how she sings, that kind of passive, like you said, Lou, kind of disconnected in a sense.
Cool, detached,
yeah. Disconnected is
and like a smooth operator has that kind of rhythm to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Actually, it does. Yeah. So
if you want to hear a good album, Scott, from Bebel Gilberto, Tanto Tempo.
Dude, I know it. I have it.
She updated her sound with a little bit. Oh, it's a classic.
Yeah. She just came out with a new album, actually.
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
Yeah. Amazon wanted to sell it to me for $4, but I have to pay fucking $80, every 6 months for a lifetime, for a year subscription, blah, blah, blah.
Buy the physical media.
Amazon to get bent.
Buy a CD or a record of it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You can own it.
Yeah. So, but so Bebel Gilberto, she's great. Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So, all right, Jack. Speaking of, what is it? Disconnected? Would you call it, Lou?
Cool, detached.
Yeah, Mr. Detachment himself, Jack, because he's not getting to show his Bob Dylan bullshit.
No, I was look as you were going.
No, listen, show your Bob Dylan. I'll just
no. Listen,
hold on.
As you were going through your description about where'd he go? He put himself in the penalty box.
Wow.
Maybe you got another storm.
Oh shit!
This could be the best version of this podcast ever.
Well, why don't we just carry on?
The inmates.
No, I just shut up because Jack's going to show his fucking Bob Dylan shit.
Back in the room.
I don't have to show my.
Hold on,
Bob
I'll be right
Dylan.
back. Jack, take it out. I'll be right back.
I was.
Sandwich time.
I was just trying to kill time while he was going through his Lord of the Rings trilogy. Farewell to. Those,
isn't it great though to thumb through records via vinyl when you're killing time? It's just
great moments in bossa nova history.
Look at how about this one?
Okay, I'm back. Did he show it? Did he show his
Sonics?
Is that it right there? No.
The Sonics, nice.
That's awesome.
That is. But what's that? What's that Bob Dylan? Is it actual just albums or is it one of his outtake things? Like
it's albums. So it's the first 8 albums all on mono.
Nice. You want to? I'll get my guitar if you want to play some of the songs. I'll be happy to.
You asshole.
Penalty Bob Dylan impersonation.
Mark's in the penalty box, inciting Jack.
I better behave.
Mark's inciting Jack, so that's what he gets.
Mark is no stranger to the penalty box.
No, Mark invented the penalty box.
Where is Mark? Did you boot Mark out?
He's in the penalty box. That's where I put you earlier. Yeah, but Mark's not going to look at. He's pounding out. Look at him pounding on a bottle of wine. see, Mark knows how to do the penalty box. Jack's like, you do that again? Yeah. I'm leaving,
dude. I sold 2 packs of cigarettes in the time I was in the penalty box.
Damn right he did. Zig Smithy knows how to do the penalty box.
Does he have the mustache this week?
Look, I got the.
He does.
He got Der Fuhrer happening again.
Der Kommissar.
I love the mustache and beard on him. He looks like the bass player from Molly Hatchet.
See,
you know that original lineup is all dead now.
Oh, you
Molly
kidding?
Hatchet, they're all dead.
They're all dead.
Is there nobody in Molly Hatchet that was in Molly Hatchet?
No, not.
Well, that's
like Temptations.
Like, exactly. Yeah.
Foreigner is out on tour this summer, and there's no original members in the band.
Mick Jones isn't in it.
No, he had heart attacks.
No. Did he really? That's fucked. That's stupid.
That's crazy.
So Foreigner is out on tour with the Coasters. The original.
Yeah, right? Yeah. The platters, right?
Oh my God.
They're on the doo-wop circuit.
Jack, how are they not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh,
Platters.
But Sheryl Crow is Foreigner.
Oh boy.
Oh God. Really? Are we going to go down this road again?
I'm just asking a question.
I'm not saying. I think that Foreigner probably belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Lou Graham is one of the greatest voices in music.
I think there's a line of people that I would put in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before I would put Foreigner, but I think eventually they get in there.
Yeah.
Does
probably when Mick Jones dies, that's when I'll put him in.
Yeah, you know what? Foreigner will get in there the same year that Bad Company and Kansas and Boston and a lot of those corporate rock bands get in. Maybe they'll have a special category. Who knows?
Corporate rock. Yeah.
Does Rage Against the Machine with only 4 albums, do they deserve to be in before Foreigner?
I think Rage Against the Machine was a far more influential band, and you can't go.
That's
by
just
the
one
number.
category. That's one. Criteria.
You can't go by the number of albums that they put out. Like the Sex Pistols were in.
I'm not putting out the amount of albums.
They had one.
And the impact. They made a big impact. Rage Against the Machine.
Sure.
That's a big part of it too.
Huge impact. Yeah.
You can't get in just by impact alone. One album.
Yeah, well, 4 albums and some impact, right?
If you piss off Jimmy Iovine, you're not getting in. So
it's Tom Hanks.
So Jack, how does Rage Against the Machine get in with 4 albums? And these are just questions, not challenging. We already talked about this. I'm getting your opinion on this. How does Rage Against the Machine? All right, I'll even throw them out because they have 4 albums, and I love Rage Against the Machine. I've seen them a number of times, right? Love them, but does Sheryl Crow deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame over Phil Collins?
I don't know that Sheryl Crow is getting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame over Phil Collins. I think if he's not in for his solo stuff, he's already in for Genesis, right?
That's okay. Yeah. But his solo stuff was fucking...
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before Phil Collins gets in.
But why wouldn't he already be in is a question.
It's backlash against his ubiquity. I really do think he was everywhere at once. I think it got on people's nerves. I think he experienced... South Park made fun of him. So it's got to mean something. But I do think it's about ubiquity at one point.
Yeah, I'll tell you, my honest response is that they pick people that are compelling and they mix it up and they want this type of controversy. There's a backlog of people that should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that probably will be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at some point that are not. And that probably includes Phil Collins or
America.
Yeah.
That's my vote.
But identity politics, and I'm not this is not me speaking. I've seen a number of people say this, that identity politics is what the thing is now. It's what it is. They're definitely not doing it on merit. They're not doing it on record sales. They're not doing it on influence. They're not doing it on, again, so why is Dolly Parton in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? We never had a rock song, but George Jones isn't, who's probably known to have the greatest singing voice, one of the greatest singing voices.
I think George Jones will get in because they're going to start putting more country singers in, I'm sure.
But he should have been in before Dolly Parton then.
He's been a bigger influence on rock and roll than Dolly Parton.
Are you kidding me? Of course
the whole old country, that whole segment of music, they all love George Jones.
Yeah.
So he's one.
Yeah, but is it like, could there be a conversation in the back room like this? Look, George Jones is gone. We can put him in. There's no rush to put him in. We have Dolly Parton that can actually come in and perform while she can still come in and perform. It's not so much about
they're not putting it in on merit then. They're doing it on who can perform.
They are, but I think they have such a deep pool to choose from that there are probably other factors that come into.
There's a lot that rises to the top.
Are you gonna keep cutting me off every time I respond to something?
Yeah, I miss doing that. So
all right, I just wanted to know. Can you do me a favor? Ask me a question. I'll get a word in and just put me in the penalty box, and then you can just blab all you want.
All right, if I ask you a question, so all right, I won't cut you off. Could you limit your answer to 90 seconds?
Dude, you just went on
for
45 minutes.
It's a debate. It's a legitimate debate.
You know why? Because it's my podcast.
You've gone over your time, Senator. You've gone over your time period.
I can do that.
I'm sorry. Was I being too verbose?
I see a faction with Lou and Scott here. I see it.
Yeah.
That's damn right. That's why I'm going to Asheville and not Shitville, New York.
It's the drummer
We're going
and
out
the
for dinner, and he's
programmer. It's the beats programmer and the drummer getting together.
That's right.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much I've remissed being on this show.
Hey, Jack. I'm waiting to get the text. Mark, me and Scott got this. Me and Lou got this week.
This week.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Don't worry.
I know.
Hey, Lou, can you play the Amen break?
Excuse me?
Can you play the Amen break? Do you know what the Amen break is?
Amen.
I don't think so.
In drumming?
No.
It's like
I might. I mean, I don't really
it's a certain beat that basically launched drum and bass music. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a crazy beat. It's a crazy, but it launched a whole, and it was used a lot in hip hop. The Amen break, they call it. Yeah.
I never heard that. Cool.
Just curious. Mark brought up drummers. So Jack, what were you saying?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. All right.
I honestly forget what we were even talking about.
We're just the guitarists, Jack. Don't worry about it.
And I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band, so.
I know you were still on your rock and roll Hall of Fame thing.
That's right. Well, how many country artists have been put in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at this point that could be considered countries? Waylon Jennings in?
No, Johnny Cash is in.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Johnny Cash is in.
Willie's got to be in. Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Patsy
Sr.
Cline.
Are they? I'm not sure.
I think she's in.
Tammy Wynette. I mean,
I don't know about Tammy Wynette. I would think that Patsy Cline is in, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's coming up a question now because Dolly Parton was questioning why she was even considered. Now she has an album. Her album Rock Stars coming out because she's doing it to justify or to give tribute to the fact that she got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
But bear in mind, Scott, that the people
Jack, I'm sorry. Hold on. Hello.
Hello, am I calling 99?
You're calling 99.
Who do I get to see? Who do I win? What concert?
You get to go to a concert with Jack.
Jack. I love Jack. He's fucking awesome.
Fuck Jack.
Are you still live? How do I want to be able to call into the show.
I could turn the phone on.
Why don't you tell him he's on?
Those guys are whack, dude. That's fucking awesome that you have those guys on. I mean, they know a Dude, you know how much I love this, dude. I don't remember anything like you guys do anymore, but I love what you guys are always going over, like the whole concert thing this summer. And you saw when I said about the whole, bullshit with like Guns N' Roses and what it costs. But I love the fact that you got shows played. Bryan Adams is playing, I think, Saturday night here in Boston, bro. With Joan Jett.
Bryan Adams and Joan Jett?
Are touring.
Where are they playing?
I'm guessing, I don't know, bro. I'm guessing maybe MGM. I mean, the new MGM, the one in the Fenway. Or I don't think they're at the Garden, dude. I don't. I'd have to look it up. I'm guessing what? Where else? What's the other smaller venues around Boston nowadays?
Jack, where would they be?
Indoors.
I think the MGM.
Right?
I think the MGM is probably a good guess, but it's probably the
What's
Pavilion.
Old, bro?
No. It's more than likely the Pavilion, the one that's on the waterfront, the big white
Probably the big white tent, Jack said.
Oh, baby.
I think it's called the Leap. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we're still doing it. He can't hear you, Jack.
All right, so listen, I'll let you go, but that's why I called. I love you guys, and I wanted to check in, and I want to learn I want to be able to chime on next time.
Well, I'm going to give you the phone number. All right? Can you take the number? Let me text you the number.
There you go.
And then call it and see if it comes through.
Okay, cool.
I'll text it to you right now.
I was going to try and take a picture, dude. I'm just doing a stick down in the Elks parking lot on the left, closest to like Winthrop Yacht Club. And it's a beautiful sunset. So me and you, because it's perfect.
All right.
And the harbor is wicked calm.
I'm going to text you the number if you want to call in.
All right, cool.
All right, bye. Jack. That's our friend.
Now, from where I come from, it is really rude to interrupt somebody to take a call. That's just the way I was brought up.
This was a different kind of call, though. Jack knows what I mean.
But Mark, as you heard, that call was so worth taking. What the fuck?
I think of the guy driving late at night. It's dark. He's listening to the show. He's about to fall asleep at the wheel. That's what does it. No.
He's at a toll booth. He's in park at a toll booth talking.
Here's my contribution. Look, I know you guys are talking about sophisticated music and stuff, but Bryan Adams and Joan Jett are playing in Boston. Oh yeah, where? I don't know. Are you going? No. Why are you telling this that?
So,
I don't know.
I text him the number. It says, I'm driving with focus turned on.
Wow.
Lonely.
He's not driving. He said that he's in the Elks parking lot smoking a stick.
Exactly. Smoking a stick. Watching the sun go down, dude.
I'm in the Elks parking lot smoking a stick, listening to the girl from Oompa Loompa.
Hey, did you go from Oompa Loompa?
Short and fat and orange and dumpy. Oompa Loompa.
Good one. Did you guys know that Terry Nunn from Berlin was not the original person they wanted to sing Take My Breath Away from? I mean, huge hit. Huge hit. You can't take that away. She still looks good today, too, by the way. She's still a good-looking lady.
Kim Carnes was going to sing it, right?
Nope. Good guess, though.
Chrissy Hind? I could see Chrissy
good
Hind
guess.
singing that.
Good guess, though. Jack?
Patty Smythe.
No. Good
Bonnie
guess,
Tyler.
though.
Bonnie
Nope.
Tyler.
Nope.
Astrud Gilberto.
Tom Waits.
Ethel,
Take my breath away.
Ethel Berman. Take my breath away.
I can do a good Tom Waits.
I think that's a fake voice of his, by the way. I've said this for years. I think if he really sang, it'd be clear as a bell. Ever hear his version? 55.
Yeah,
Jack, now you're Jack's world. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like him at all.
There's an evolution with Tom Waits. Like the first couple of albums are a singer-songwriter where he's singing like in his natural voice. And then he starts getting into this New Orleans kind of more theatrical, but he's still kind of singing. And then he moves into the gravelly, I've been drinking scotch and smoking cigars all day.
Gargling with razor blades.
Are you a Tom Waits fan?
I like some of his stuff. I wouldn't say I'm not saying I'm a fan, but I
Oh my God,
appreciate stuff.
I love Tom Waits.
Tom Waits or Joe Jackson, if you had a choice, Jack.
They're so different.
I know they are. That's why I'm mad. I know Jack's a big Joe Jackson fan.
Apples and oranges.
But if you had a choice, Desert Island.
Joe Jackson.
I probably would go with Joe Jackson.
Happier.
I did it again.
You're not going to kill yourself on the desert island listening to Tom Waits.
Tom Waits has some beautiful,
I know
beautiful
he does.
songs.
No, you won't get an argument out of me there. Yeah.
Wilson, you're a volleyball named Wilson.
And I told you that Heath Ledger, he mimicked or he copied Tom Waits to play the Joker. That voice. Heard an interview in Australia.
Really?
Yeah, and I saw the interview. I sent it to Jack. It's very funny as fuck interview, right?
Yeah.
Waits is what, 25, 26?
Yeah.
Young, right? And Heath Ledger said, I saw this interview with him with an Australian guy. The guy's American. He had a show in Australia. He said, that's where I got the voice for the Joker. And so then you listen to the voice after you hear the interview, and you're like, damn, he wasn't making that up.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll tell you.
I know stuff.
Yeah, but I picture the Joker's voice is kind of higher pitched and kind of that weird nervous.
Got to see the interview.
Yeah. Okay.
Jack?
I was just going to say, Tom Waits has got, his fan base is just ravenous. I mean, crazy loyal. I had the opportunity to see him once. I actually had to fly down to Atlanta, and I went down to Atlanta specifically just to see that show. And the people around me were from Switzerland, Spain, London, Toronto, people from all over the world that had, they flew because he doesn't tour very often.
Right.
As a matter of fact, that show that he played at the Fox Theater in Atlanta, that was 2007, 2008. He hasn't done a tour in the United States since.
Wow. Little Kate Bush's, isn't it?
Yeah,
Bush
you know what? I don't think he
Kate
needs
Bush
to.
Light.
He hates being on the road.
Yeah. He lived on the road.
Yeah,
his whole beginning of his career was the road.
Oh yeah,
literally.
Some people like it. Dylan loves it, but yeah, not everybody likes it.
I think his early record producer was one of those Sunshine Pop guys. It might have been Bones Howe. His first producer was someone I wouldn't guess would produce Tom Waits. Worth looking up.
But I think most people that listen to the first 2 or 3 Tom Waits albums would never pick it out to be Tom Waits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just because it's so dramatically different.
Before it became more cinematic and kind of that genre. Right. I've liked his acting. Do you ever see Ironweed?
Yes.
That's a real uplifting movie, isn't it?
How about
watch that Barfly and Leaving Las Vegas?
Oh yeah, Jesus, you'll be
Las
dead by the
Vegas.
end of the weekend.
Leaving Las Vegas is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, Barfly.
Mark, you would like that movie. That would be one of your favorites. My God.
Have you guys?
Barfly, Mickey Rourke, it is some of his best. To my friends.
God.
To my friends.
Have you guys ever seen? I can't remember if it's Coffee and Cigarettes or Cigarettes and Coffee. Have you seen that one?
No.
So it's black. It's a black and white shot. Like 4 or 5 little vignettes. But there's one of the scenes. One of the vignettes is Tom Waits and Iggy Pop in a coffee shop.
Great.
Just having a conversation. Pull it up on YouTube later on. It's absolutely worth watching.
Is Iggy Pop wearing a shirt?
Iggy Pop is wearing a shirt.
Okay.
Talk about 2 distinct voices.
Really?
Even when they just regular conversation.
I'll have eggs over easy.
Yeah,
I
will too.
The whole premise of like their scene is that Iggy Pop is waiting for him in this, tavern, coffee shop, whatever it is, and Tom Waits comes in late and he explains how there was a wreck on the highway and how he had to perform surgery. Just this long bullshit yarn that he spins. It's hilarious.
Is that where you get that from, Jack?
What's that?
Is that where you get what you do? Is that where you get it from?
The long spinning yarns?
So, I'm just saying.
Scott, I think that's more of a Winthrop thing. Well, we love telling stories.
You're right. Okay.
Actually, I haven't heard Jack tell a story because he gets cut off every time he starts to tell a story.
This is true.
Penalty box.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, the answer to the
two of
question,
evening.
believe it or not, it's, and I heard the demo of it. Martha Davis.
Oh, I almost guessed her.
Yeah.
Wow.
From the Motels.
Okay.
Yeah. Martha
Beautiful.
Davis.
What a beautiful woman she was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's not that, not anymore. I've
Not
seen
even-
pictures of her lately. Well, listen, she's aged. She had cancer. The
Yeah,
poor lady.
well, of course.
She had a
Scott,
kind of a rough life.
Scott, she's certainly not holding up as well as we are. I mean, look at how gorgeous the four of us are.
It's hard to do.
I can speak from the top left-hand corner of my screen. I know that.
Scott, you are the Martha Davis of this podcast.
I am.
When Suddenly Last Summer came out, she was no kid.
No, they had been around for a little while. The
Well into her
Motels.
30s, well into her 30s when that came out.
Yeah, they had been around for a while. But yeah, I heard the version in what Terry Nunn, they had her, it sounds like just go like an octave higher, kind of pitch higher than Martha Davis. Martha Davis had kind of it was like a smoky sound, but
Yeah.
Terry Nunn definitely, it was made for her. It was made for her. Don't You Forget About Me was originally offered to Billy Idol.
Yep.
Right? So think about Billy Idol's voice.
Wait, is that not just Billy Idol?
Well, he was one of them.
I was
He was
always
one of
under
them.
the impression that the first person that they offered Don't You Forget About Me was Corey Hart.
I
Really?
could hear that.
Sunglasses at night.
Yeah.
I don't think he had. I mean, I don't know. Did he have the voice power to do that?
No, not that song.
That may be the reason
That's
why he
what I
turned
heard.
it down.
Yeah.
Well, if you listen to Billy Idol, right? We all know his voice.
He could have done
And
it.
you listen to Jim Kerr, Billy Idol could easily sit in
Mhm.
and sing that song. They almost have the same kind of voice.
You know what though?
in that.
It would have been produced totally different. I mean, Simple Minds were a band, and I don't think it would have sounded. There's something about just take his voice away. The way that song's played,
Right.
Fantastic.
Right.
Their vocal timbers are very much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
That's
tell you,
it, yeah.
Simple Minds for me, that's a band that probably deserved a lot more credit than they got.
So let's get into it.
They could have been bigger, right?
Let's get into it. Exactly. Good transition,
Could have
Jack.
been bigger.
Nice segue.
Should have been bigger.
Yeah, they could have been bigger. They were big, but they could have been bigger. Now,
Scott, as your reviewer noted, as the show goes on, the guy from New York gets drunker and drunker. So you better get to the topic.
well, I did say in the intro, it's a mixed bag tonight. It's a mixed bag. No, we weren't singular tonight. We weren't singular. There it is. So why is it? Like, what happened to Men at Work? Right? Men at Work came out with their first two albums were monsters. Right? I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Well,
The first two albums were monsters. They were.
The first album was a monster.
The second one was big too.
The second album, they
Yep.
had Overkill, but not much beyond that.
But it sold. It sold. The album sold.
Definitely two big albums.
They were back to back. Yeah.
Big expectations too. I guess.
And then like they just fell off. Whether it was infighting, I don't know.
Well,
But how does a band like that just disappear?
Don't you think a band like that, like, when I think of Men at Work, and this is probably more me than anything else, they were kind of quirky, they were a little bit goofy, and I think after a while the gimmick kind of wears off. You know what I mean?
There's so much novelty there.
Yeah. So
There's
when you
touch
think
of
about that,
novelty.
when you think about that first, album, like, none of us were really exposed to Australia, so Vegemite Sandwich. And,
I think you go one song was quirky. The biggest hit was quirky.
No.
But
That was quirky.
No.
Overkill is not a quirky song.
No.
Yeah, but
I think it was
Big
his
as
eyeball.
Johnny is kind of a quirky song. But, Land Down Under is a little bit quirky.
That's very
Who
quirky.
Can It Be Now is quirky.
But that sax beat. I mean, whoever put that at the beginning of that's one of those iconic openings, right?
Yeah,
It's the sax. On Who Can It Be Now?
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love those songs.
The
But
flute
but I
on-
but I
And Colin
I never,
Hay went on to have a pretty good career on his own.
I will tell you. So I've seen Colin Hay in concert like a couple of times, and he's really, really good.
Great voice.
I've heard that.
But I will tell you, back in the day, if somebody said, "Hey, do you want to go see Men at Work?" I'd be like, "Really? I don't know."
Well, it wasn't our thing. You and I,
you know what,
like we liked them, but you know, if they were part of a festival.
It may have been unfair, but I didn't give them a lot of respect. Probably didn't give them as much respect as they deserved.
Maybe
Was it overkill?
Maybe certain songs. Overkill is a song that made me take them seriously.
Overkill is a great song, and by the way, if you ever have the inclination, get Colin Hayes' first solo album that has the acoustic version of Overkill on it. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I listened to it.
They translate well to the acoustic singer-songwriter format.
Yeah.
So he was the guy in Men at Work. So those were his songs most likely.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, he was the main thing there.
Yeah.
Right, but again, so you have a band they're hot. They came out with like, I don't know, what, 1 or 2 more albums after that, and they just kind of fell off. Now, would it be a product again, as we've spoken of a number of times on this podcast, of MTV? You know, they build you up, then shit you out, pretty much, and the machine keeps rolling.
Yeah,
the machine keeps rolling.
The next big thing comes along. You know, but I think the other thing is that when you think of a lot of bands' first albums, you know, they've had what, a decade or 5 years or 6 years to be able to not only put that collection of songs together, but probably playing it out all the time and really honing it and, you know, and really refining the sound. You know, so you have that big first album, you have some carryover to the second album, and then they're out of gas. And part of it is because in between those 2 first albums that come out, they got them on the road like crazy. So they're not writing the way that they were. They're doing this show. They probably got a little heady in terms of, hey, we're a giant band right now. We don't have to put as much work into it. But I think that's a story for a lot lot of bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark, who do you have
a second album or a third album slump? There's a slump period usually. And that day, like in the classic rock days, that was probably from Burnout, like you said. Album tour. And crash.
Yeah.
Mark, what do you got?
I'm going to bring up an artist. It's not just bands that do this too. There was a guy named Eric Johnson who came swinging out of the gate. His first album hit it with the musicians, Echoes. Everyone loved it. Everyone's talking about him. Then he came out. That was the second album. He was all over the radio. Of all those guitar slingers in the 80s, he was the one that got played on the radio. He had a bona fide hit. Fucking guy took 10 years to record an album. He killed himself, you know. His third album, Venus Isle, was 10 years later. You know, a lot of people lost interest. He could have been, because his compositions were complex and incredible. The record company kind of forced him to put out albums, so he's putting out weaker material now. You know, it's like, I could sit here and riff, but you're not getting songs. If you don't know Eric Johnson, it's okay. But that guy could have been, with his songwriting capabilities, I feel he could have been either writing for other people. He had a little another guy that friends with Michael McDonald and Christopher Cross. And but yeah, what could have been? It's sad that he could have been so much more than he is, but he's still out there playing.
Did he sing, or was he just?
Yeah, he sings. He sings his own songs.
Was he a good enough singer to carry? Like Stevie Ray Vaughan was the kind of singer his voice matched his playing. Although, and like Hendrix, they didn't consider themselves great vocalists, but you could hear them, you could listen to them sing a lot. Did he have that type of voice?
He didn't have Stevie Ray's voice. He had it's kind of a high voice, but he comes from the same area from like him, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimmy Vaughan. They all kind of knew each other. They're from that part of Texas, but he doesn't have a blues voice. It's more of a refined voice. So he did some pop oriented songs, and his voice was suited for that. Yeah. You wouldn't want to hear him sing like Voodoo Child. That wouldn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just found out real quick that one of the reasons that to finish off Men at Work, they took a hiatus after Cargo. Cargo was the second album and it had 2 hits on it. It's a Mistake and Overkill. Both really good songs. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They took a hiatus and a couple of the band members were like, this is taking too long. Like, we're done. You know, and they walked. So maybe it was a nucleus, right?
Yeah.
Like the makeup of the band just wasn't the same. I think the saxophone player ended up dying eventually, dead. But yeah, and they're one of those bands that Supertramp. right? Supertramp.
Yeah,
The lead singer from Supertramp can go on tour with any band, right?
Yeah.
Supertramp is, I forget his name. What's his name? Lead singer?
Roger Hodgson.
Yeah. He can go on tour with anybody, right? And
Who's the other guy? Who's the other guy? The other lead singer.
Oh.
Rick Davies or
Rick Davies. Yeah, they were like
Davies,
songwriting partners.
Yeah.
They wrote, yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't sing as many hits as Roger Hodgson.
And Roger Hodgson left the band, and they did a couple albums without him, right? Rick Davies took over. Yeah, yeah. They had one huge album though.
Breakfast in America.
That was it.
That's
I'll
a
tell
classic
you.
album.
Well, I mean, Crime of the Century is actually pretty good.
Thank you.
I
got sacrificed for liking that album, by the way. So
I like that album. My favorite album, and Scott and I kind of differ on this. I love live albums, and they're live in Paris. Supertramp live in Paris is very good.
Yeah.
By the way,
I don't know being a really good live band.
I don't know if you guys can see this, because you were talking about him. I ran and got this. Can you see that?
No.
Guitar picks.
The
Two guitar picks. The first one is Johnny Ramone.
Nice.
The second one is Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Nice.
There you go. Jack has them in a nice little black framed plastic.
Little case.
Little case. Very nice.
Although
very nice.
the Ramone one, Johnny actually signed the back of that one.
There you go.
With what? A Sharpie?
A Sharpie, yeah.
Is it initials?
By the way, he could barely fit.
I saw it's not really. It's more of a scribble at the end.
It is.
It's a line.
So Jack, that hurts with the pick with Stevie Ray Vaughan, because I saw him in Montclair, New Jersey, at Montclair State University in a gymnasium. And you know when you're hoping for a guitar pick and he threw it bang off my hand. I didn't get it.
Dropped the ball. You dropped the ball.
Yeah.
See, back in those days, you probably didn't realize, just hang out after the show and, grab one of the guitar techs or, as they're cleaning off the stage or whatever, you probably could have grabbed one. I'll tell you, I don't know what this one would go for, but some of those, like on eBay, they're big money. They're like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
But they need the province and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? To get like a guitar pick to sell it, I would want, if I'm going to pay that much money, I want to see like they do in baseball and sports memorabilia. Like eventually you have to show a province. Where did it come from? How do I know that you didn't sign that? Like Mickey Mantle bats were all over the place for a minute, because his signature was easy to copy, but
do you mean,
which I have one and I still don't know if it's real.
Do you mean Provenance?
Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah, Provenance.
Providence, Rhode Island.
It's Provenance.
Provenance.
Yeah. There you go.
Just trying to help.
You
don't mind me.
No, I'm not. I haven't minded you from the beginning.
Anyways.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up so Supertramp, that's one of those bands, right? What happened to them? Like, how did they have Breakfast in America?
Yeah.
And okay, Jack, and I'll give you that. But then it's like, what happened? They were one of those like mid to late 70s super groups, like not super group per se. Like they were selling out. They
had one hit before the Breakfast in America. Give a Little Bit was the hit.
Give a Little Bit.
I don't know if that was an album.
Bloody Well Right.
Yeah. No, was that before? That's before Breakfast in America.
Yeah, but they were also killed by
that was a live track. That song we heard on the radio, I think that was a live version of that, right?
No, studio.
Okay. I'm thinking of Dreamer.
Dreamer, yeah, that was from the Paris concert. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they were killed by the 80s. Like they had their 70s, and then the 80s came in. They couldn't. A lot of bands just couldn't make it in the 80s. So
they also had
that's you may be right in that the thing that they
Bloody Well Right.
What the fuck?
Bloody Well Right. I was just saying. You said you may be right. I said Bloody Well Right.
He's got a bloody right. I
got a bloody right to see. Go on.
I think that you guys are right that the 80s kind of killed a band like Supertramp because they weren't an MTV band. They weren't presentable in that format.
Yeah.
They weren't pretty boys.
Yeah.
And I think that I think there are a lot of bands that kind of face that. I'll tell you one band that I think that should have been bigger that I absolutely loved, and I don't think they did well because they weren't Pretty Boys, was the Smithereens. I don't know if you guys like that band or know that band or anything, but they have some great stuff. But they were, they were
three
four
really good
schlubs
albums
from New Jersey or wherever they were from.
All people from New Jersey are schlubs. Come on.
Yeah, come on. I'm a schlub.
Yeah.
Friend of mine, Todd Sockman, who's been listening to the podcast from episode 1, I turned him on to the Smithereens back in like 1990, and he became a big fan that point on. Yeah.
Their album 11 was probably their high water mark, but that album was one of those albums where you could listen to it from cover to cover and, side to side, and there was no filler in that record at all. It was just fantastic.
Yeah. They didn't have quite. They were reaching for like radio status. A Girl Like You was like a big rock song. Their first album is much more of an indie rock album.
Dennis you're right.
Dennis Dyken of the Smithereens, the drummer, became a friend of my old drummer and introduced us to like a band called the Gripweeds that were friends with the Smithereens in New Jersey. So we recorded at their recording studio for our eponymous CD. But that's where the Smithereens did their demo for like their major albums.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was
So the lead singer of the Smithereens, Pat D'Annunzio, passed away. Not exactly the biggest health nut in the world. So you know who they have singing lead for them right now? Marshall Crenshaw.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Some way.
Marshall Crenshaw is the lead singer of the Smithereens right now.
Wow.
Wow.
That's interesting.
At the time when they were first getting big, Jim Babjack had a video store. They still had day jobs for the most part.
Yeah,
because they didn't write the songs. But Pat D'Annunzio was a songwriter.
Yeah.
So
a lot of those guys might still have day jobs.
No, sure they do. Yeah, Dennis Dyken's a consultant on like Beach Boys stuff, whatever. Some of the latter day Brian Wilson stuff. Movies. He was
still
a consultant
pretty cool.
Yeah. So they kept going.
It's not like he's in the insurance industry.
Exactly. Yeah. He's not selling wine out of a van like I am. Like a fucking ice cream man.
What about Concrete Blonde? Janetta Napolitano had fucking that voice.
Are they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No, but her voice, and I think what's the guitarist, James Mankey, I think his name is. Great unique sound. Great unique sound. His guitar.
Did they have one? Did they have one song?
They had Joey. The album Bloodletting is a great album.
So that was the question that I was going to ask. I mean, like, is there one really great, cohesive, awesome album? Because I'm not familiar. I saw Concrete Blonde open up for Sting, and they were fine. Yeah. But that's not a band that I was ever like, oh my God, I got to listen to those guys.
But they were in rotation again when they kind of broke in the 90s. They were around in the 80s. They broke in the 90s. They had some minor hits, Caroline, and again, Joey. Joey's probably the biggest hit.
Yeah.
But the album Bloodletting is a fucking really good album. And so you see this group, she has, the girl that sings,
Four Non-Blondes.
Four
Non-Blondes.
Right? Yeah, four non-concrete.
Was she from that band?
No, but she sounded just like her.
I thought it was the same. I thought it was the same band actually.
I know, right? Because she sounded just like.
I saw Four Non-Blondes open for Aerosmith, and I liked it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
They were okay.
Concrete Blonde is edgier, much edgier than Four Non-Blondes.
The thing that disappointed me about Four Non-Blondes, and Mark, I don't know if you feel the same way, but for me, Aerosmith traditionally always had kick-ass opening bands. Like that was the seeing Aerosmith was the first time that I saw the Black Crowes. It was the first time I saw Guns N' Roses. It was the first time I saw Skid Row. It was the first time I saw UFO.
Wow,
that's weird.
Rick Derringer.
And
Four Non-Blondes, like they had that hit, but it was a little bit of a mismatch for me.
Yeah. I saw that were you at the Giants Stadium show when they finished their permanent vacation tour where Deep Purple
No,
opened?
I saw them in Boston.
Okay, because that was the Guns N' Roses came out, and that's when I stopped liking Axl Rose. He was an asshole. He's telling everyone to go home if you don't. Like, you're the opening band. So I'm sitting there. We're giving him the finger. He's giving us the finger back. But then Deep Purple came on. Richie Blackmore was drunk. You know, it was kind of a shit show. They were good, but Guns N' Roses kind of ruined the mood for the whole concert. You know, like
do you guys kind of wish that Richie Blackmore would get his shit together and go back out on the road with?
He's not. Why?
Either Deep Purple or Rainbow.
He did Rainbow. He reformed Rainbow.
Both.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that energy to play rock guitar. He's done the Renaissance.
He's playing minstrel music now, right?
Yeah.
He's always been into that weird shit.
Were you guys?
He's playing Renaissance festivals.
I would imagine that
everybody
everybody here were big Deep Purple fans. Were you guys big Rainbow fans?
Me, yes.
I like some of the stuff.
I play guitar pretty much because of Richie Blackmore. So anything Richie Blackmore, I was a big Rainbow fan.
So you being a Rainbow fan, was it the Dio years? Did you appreciate like the Joe Lynn Turner years, or?
So initially, I was the Dio years guy because I was a metalhead. But in retrospect, I really love the Joe Lynn Turner years. That guy is a great.
The guy
singer.
could sing, man. He could sing.
From Hackensack, New Jersey.
Yep, I like it all.
Yeah, you have to see Joe Lynn Turner's music now in his videos now.
Oh,
he's gone like really heavy.
Heavy. The video Perry sent to us, it's terrifying. It's legitimately satanic. It's just it's all red. It's just he's got alopecia, so all of his Rainbow years he wore a wig the whole time.
Yeah.
My old drummer went to high school with him in Hackensack, New Jersey. It's a small state. We all know each other,
Wow.
But
I always joked. I said when he was in Rainbow, like there was some guy that had to make sure that Richie didn't grab Joe's wig and Joe didn't grab Richie's wig, because that would have looked really bad coming out on stage.
God.
No,
that's beyond Spinal Tap now.
Hey, look, it's Richie singing.
Oh, God.
Look, what do you got now? You got a group?
Yeah, the Replacements. They could have been huge. They couldn't help themselves.
I never got into them.
I got into them for like an album or two, and I could see the songwriting thing. The songwriting was great. The band was not. They didn't want. Wasn't it? Paul Westerberg didn't want to be in a good band.
Yeah.
It's a foot shooting thing for whatever reason. I never saw them live, but a friend of mine has and said, good show, really bad, like a lot of that stuff. But
Westerberg drank his face off before every show.
Well, they all did. And even when they, Bob Stinson passed away, the first lead guitar player, they went with Slim Dunlop, and they became slightly more professional, so to speak, because they signed with Warner Brothers, I think. But it didn't matter, the songs were great, but if they would have been more serious, so to speak. But it was a band that could have been. I mean, they made an impact, a huge impact. I don't know if that impact is has the impact been lasting. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I only got to see them one time. How's this for a lineup? So the Replacements were the first band on, then Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, then Bob Dylan with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers backing him up.
Okay, wow.
That
had to be.
The Replacements is a bit weird with those other guys, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a bit of a sore thumb. They did. I forgot what show it was. The one live show. They did a music awards show. It's one moment in their history where they were awkward. The whole thing was awkward, but they had this reputation as the drunk rock and roll bad boys. A time when it was rock and roll was cleaning up. But the presenter comes out and she goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're sorry. Here's the Replacements." Like apologizing for them in advance. It was so awkward. It was live too, and they were like, "Fuck this,"
Hey,
do you have a favorite Replacement song?
I like Swingin' Party.
Swingin' Party is great too.
Yeah.
For me, it's always been Alex Chilton.
Alex Chilton's great. Answering Machine is probably my second one. But yeah, it's interesting. They could have been something more.
Yeah.
And Westerberg's solo stuff sounds like a guy that doesn't have to do anything. So he seems like he's settled into a comfortable life, which is great. But yeah.
See, we just mentioned weird combinations, like Jack, the Replacements with Tom Petty and Bob Dylan, right?
There's another weird
Jack and I had this conversation the other day. Carrie Underwood and Guns N' Roses.
Holy shit.
All right.
What is that? And the Pretenders on that same view, they're touring with Guns N' Roses.
Well,
Pretenders.
yeah. So Jack had said they're all different. Like they're going to do it at different times. I guess they put that out. It's not a whole tour. I guess it's like at certain venues you're going to get Carrie Underwood.
That's
certain
right.
venues
That's
you're going to
right.
get the Pretenders. Certain venues you're going to get shit fucking Alice in Chains.
They also
jump.
listed 3 other bands, so I'm thinking Guns N' Roses is going to come out and do a 70-minute greatest hit set. That's all they're going to do.
That's
Make the money.
they'll probably do that anyways. All 3 of them. You know, 3 out of 5. Well, you know.
Who do you think's going to open for Oasis?
So that's a good segue.
It's coming, man.
No, it's not. I'll tell you why. Okay,
coming.
on this day in 2022, Liam
Oh my God,
Gallagher.
are we at that part of the
We're
show?
skipping
No.
ahead.
I decided to jump
I had
this
a
one up.
second band. I mean,
I decided to jump this one up. Well, you brought up Oasis, buddy. You know me and Jack are going to go to town on this. So sit back and relax,
you
Lou.
have to take a break.
Yeah, take a break, drink some wine. On this day last year, Liam Gallagher was #1 on the UK chart with his 3rd solo album, Come On You Know. It was preceded by the lead single, Everything's Electric, co-written by Dave Grohl, which charted at number 18 on the UK singles charts, becoming Gallagher's first solo single to reach the UK top 20. But Come On You Know became Gallagher's 4th solo album to debut at #1. Why the fuck would he want to go out on tour when he's rolling with #1 fucking debuts?
Because
gonna
in
go
North
on
America, they're going to be phenomenally big.
And then you got this. Says Liam Gallagher responds to Noel Gallagher's public challenge over Oasis reunion talk. All right. So the back and forth between them continues. And evidently, during an interview in Seattle's 98.9 KPNW, Noel turned to the camera with his challenge addressing Liam. I dare him. This is a quote. I dare him. If you're watching this now, I fucking dare you to call me. I dare you to call me. And you won't call me because if you do call me and I go, actually, that's a good idea. Actually, that might work. In other words, that's how he answered it, right? Said, then the ass falls out of his trousers because then you got to be in the same room with me, right? And we both know how that'll end up. So you call me. Stop tweeting. You're bigger than that. You're better than that. So he challenges Liam to call him, right? Let's do the reunion. Call
It'd
me.
be like wrestling. They're building up to it. That's what I think.
Liam's response was this, basically without going through the whole nutshell. And Jack, you can nod all you want. Liam's like, #1, why would I call him? He broke up the band. He's the one that cost all those people all those jobs. He was the one that left. Why would I call him? He has to call me. Which is a great point. Put all the shit aside, wrestling, whatever you think. That's a great point.
All I'm going to say is save your pennies, brother.
It's not happening, I'm telling you.
It is absolutely
#1, Liam Gallagher is rolling with #1 albums on his own. The high-flying Byrds aren't doing anything. They're not doing anything, right? Liam's fucking rocking where he wants to rock. He doesn't come he could come to the United States if he wanted to, and people would fucking go to see him, right? He's actually going to do what is this? The 30th anniversary of what album is it? Fuck, I forget what it is. But he's going to do it. He's going to go out on tour. Noel's like,
What's the story, Morning Glory?
no,
Supersonic.
no, it's not Supersonic. That's not the name of the album. I forget what it is. But he's
Sgt. Pepper's.
yeah, that's the one. But he's going to go out and do it. Noel said, I have no interest in singing any of that. I already sing Oasis songs. But Liam's going to go out and do the whole fucking album. Come on, man. Which is the name of his last #1 album. He doesn't have to go with Oasis.
But
If he was struggling, now I understand if he was struggling and he'd be like, all right, I got to make some fucking money here. Right? But he's all about his ego. He's a lead singer. He's all about him. Why do I need my brother now that I have 4 #1 debuts in Europe?
in Europe, right? Not anywhere else.
He hasn't come to the United States. He seems to have no interest in really coming over here.
Is he selling here in the States?
I don't think
My
so.
son-in-law he did a short tour of the U.S. He saw him in Central Park with what's that guy's name? Bittersweet Symphony. What's that singer's name?
Richard
Verve.
Ashcroft.
Yeah, Richard
Yeah,
Ashcroft.
They
Yeah.
did a
Richard
double
Ashcroft.
bill in Central Park.
Yeah, that was a little while back.
It was packed,
That's a pretty good double bill.
and
Yeah.
it started to rain, and he laughed because when it started to rain, he said all the Americans left and the English stayed. They were
Yeah.
all knee deep in the mud, getting
Yeah.
into it.
That's a pretty
Scott-
good double bill right there.
Scott, definitely maybe.
Yeah, that's it. I believe that's
Okay.
it.
First out.
So, yeah, so no, Liam's gonna sing. He's gonna go out and tour the whole album, right? And
Without Noel
Noel's like,
playing
I have
guitar.
no interest. So there you go, right there. Who's gonna go see Noel and who's gonna go see Liam?
They're
Right?
gonna
Who are you
tour
gonna go
together
see
at
if
some
they're
point.
out? I'm gonna go see fucking Liam sing that album, right? If I'm an Oasis fan, I'd rather go see that and then see Noel play with the High Flying Byrds, who were very good, by the way. But he only sing like Morrissey. He'll sing 4 Oasis songs, which his brother sings better. But he sings good, right? Noel he held his own in that acoustic MTV Unplugged with his brother heckling him from the fucking balcony, which was one of the beginnings of the end. So they're not getting back together.
Yeah,
I feel they are. I think they are. I could be wrong, but I think they're going to get back together. They won't write. It'll be a Guns N' Roses thing.
They got to be in the same room together. They got to be on the same stage together.
I mean,
right?
even the Robinson brothers could get back in a room together, who fought so bad that Jimmy Page said, I
Yeah.
want to tour with the Black Crowes, but I'm not. They're fighting too much. Like,
Yeah.
even the Davies brothers, I think they get back together.
So
and they
let me
talk.
ask you this: Has Chris Robinson or his brother made any money since the Black Crowes broke up? Did they make any money?
Well,
what
they
was Chris-
were both touring independently with their
Right.
own bands. But
Were they making
certainly
any money though? Right?
certainly not.
Not Black Crowes money.
No, not at all.
Chris Robinson, what was the solo thing? It was actually doing okay.
It was the Chris Robinson Experience or something like that.
Something
or-
like that. Yeah, it wasn't bad music too.
By the way, just because we're talking about it, at least to me, the Black Crowes is a band that I thought was going to be much bigger than
There
they
you go.
ended up being.
Way to bring it back.
And
around.
I think they did okay, but I thought that they were going to be a monster band, just because those first 3 albums, I'll say, were just unbelievable, and they were such a powerhouse live. They were just great, and I'll tell you, I've seen Jimmy Page and Robert Plant more times than I care to remember. And the one highlight that I saw from a Zeppelin standpoint was when Jimmy Page played with the Black Crowes.
Yeah.
They did nothing but Zeppelin songs, but that band was kick-ass tight, man. They were unbelievable.
And according to the drummer in his biography, he said that Jimmy really loved that and he wanted to continue. He was considering writing with them, but the fighting, just think about it. You're a Robinson, like you lost Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
Nice-
Sibling
nice point.
rivalry. There's nothing like it. There's no equal to a sibling
Do
rivalry.
you think at any point that Chris and Rich, one of them said to the other, "Nice, see what you did? Jimmy's gone. Nice going, asshole."
So I wonder.
Do you think their sound wouldn't go further than like mid '90s, except with people who are diehard fans? They were kind of like a throwback to the Faces, early '70s English
Yeah.
rock, hard rock.
Yeah.
Do you think what happened with hip hop and modern pop? Some of those top 10s that Scott, that you call from the '90s, it's all not music like that. It's all more like modern dance or
Right.
R&B and stuff. So you think they're, not to say they're like an anachronism, but do you think they got stuck in this sort of sound?
I think they cut out a niche for themselves. I think they had their fans, right? They still have their fans. Their sound and it would be like Dave Matthews, right? Dave Matthews cut out his little spot in music. Not everybody loves him, right?
Yeah,
But he's consistent. He's consistent.
Right.
The journey that the Black Crowes took is after their first 3 albums, they really went jammy. Like they were, I used to see them every year that they came around, and they used to play a pretty tight set. And then I saw them, and it was 11-minute versions of this and 17-minute versions of that. No, not lazy. They were busting their ass up there.
But when you're doing those jams, that means you're not really putting. I mean, they're doing it. I know what you're talking about.
There's two kinds of jams. There's jams like where you're just doing a rhythm shuffle. That's late. That
some
could be
lazy.
They were doing
Dead
intense jams. I agree with Jack.
Yeah, they were doing intense jams. But you got to remember that for. Hey, me and my girlfriend are going to go see the Black Crowes. We want to see Hard to Handle, and she talks to angels, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, just because Scott had mentioned it, it's one thing that I warned people about, not only for the Dave Matthews Band, but also Pearl Jam. So Dave Matthews is coming here next month. They're playing 2 shows at this place in Guilford, New Hampshire. And I happen to have an extra pair of tickets. And there's a woman in the office that I work with. She was like, "Oh, I would love to buy them." I was like, "Well, you can have them. But you got to remember something. That if you're going there to hear Crush and Crash and So Much to Say," and I was like, he doesn't do that. He does some of that. But when they came last year, they played 2 nights. They did 54 songs over 2 nights, and they repeated 0.
Yeah.
You have to know his catalog, because if you don't, you're going to be sitting there going, "How long is this going to go on for?" Jeepers creepers.
It's Morrissey. Yeah. That's a Morrissey concert.
Also, if you see a live band, you want to hear 8 songs.
Yeah.
But
again, that's a Morrissey concert. People don't know his catalog. Then they're like, "Why isn't he singing How Soon Is Now?" Well, he played that. He opened up in Miami with that, so he's not going to play it the next night in Tampa, right? He's going to play his catalog. Yeah. If you don't know his catalog, well, why are you going to see Morrissey? Well, because most people think it's a Smiths oldies act.
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, just before we get too far away from it, the only time that I've seen Oasis live was a double bill with the Black Crowes.
Interesting. Wow. There you go. So you say they're going to get back together.
The Fighting Brothers tour.
Yeah.
They played that up to the hilt.
Yeah. Tag team.
As a matter of fact, I think it was
Chris and Liam versus Nolan.
That's great. Yeah, tag team.
I might have this wrong, but I think it was on the Howard Stern show that Chris and Rich Robinson were on, and they talked about that tour, and they talked about how Liam and Noel would bicker at each other, but then they heard the Robinson brothers in the other room fighting. They were like, "Holy fucking shit, those guys are lunatics."
I think they took the cake. Those two. Yeah. They beat the English brothers. That's pretty big.
So you had you're saying siblings and they'll get back together because, well, the Black Crowes get back together, right? Well, how about Creedence Clearwater Revival? His brother hated him.
But they
can't get back together because he's dead.
Well, he never wanted to get back together. There was never an attempt. There was never an attempt. His brother.
Not entirely true.
Prove me wrong.
Have you read?
John never forgave Tom for saying Saul Zaentz was his best friend.
Yeah,
that's the thing with
the manager is as close. No, he said he's more of a brother to me than you are.
So Creedence
that's exactly what he said.
Creedence is an especially nasty situation because brothers who fight, but with Creedence, Saul Zaentz got in between those two brothers. That's what's really screwed up about that whole
manipulation.
Thing. Yeah,
like
but he also produced One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Like NWA, same thing.
Scott,
got its easy there.
I'm telling you, brother, save your pennies because it's coming.
Good seats.
I'm not worried.
Know what? I think Lou, in lieu, no pun intended, of hot sauce for using your theme, maybe you could parlay an Oasis ticket.
I'll go see.
Hey, you know what?
Your fucking penalty box. That's a double minor right there. Trying to cost me money. He's going into my pocket now. This wine drinking fucking mother. Drinking. What's he drinking? Fucking armadillo tail wine. What the shit is he drinking? Chardonnay. What's the shit? He's armadillo tail. What is it?
A dingo tail.
Well, Jack's getting close to his time. I see that. I've been watching the clock, buddy. I'm happy you went an hour and a half. I appreciate it, Jack.
Yeah, you know what?
All joking aside, I love you, buddy. I love you like a brother. We fight like brothers.
And I got to tell you, I miss being on the show. It's a blast, and I love that Lou and Mark are on it. You guys add so much to it.
Thanks, sir.
I feel like I'm the outsider now.
No.
You guys should be on tour with Oasis and the Black Crowes. You guys should
both of those guys. It'd be like, holy shit! Listen to those two idiots.
You know why this podcast lasted going on three? It's been 3 years, right?
3 decades.
Yeah, 105
decades.
episodes. You know why it's lasted? Because Jack's in fucking New Hampshire and I'm in fucking Boca Raton. Like ZZ Top said, different tour buses. That's why we last so long.
Yeah.
If we were in a room with 2 microphones, somebody's fucking throwing them headphones down. Somebody's walking. Somebody's like, fuck this. I'm
You
outta
guys
here.
are definitely not Rush. When Rush got together, though, they loved each other. They were having fun.
You each have your own bathroom.
Scott and I love each other. We have fun.
Just gets on my fucking nerves like a little brother sometimes.
Kind of like the War of the Roses, right?
Like that little brother syndrome. He fucking pokes me.
That's me and Tom
You know,
Stallone.
like ever since you moved to Florida, you've turned into this cranky old man. You know,
Oh,
like,
get the
it's like you're on the set of Cocoon.
Hey,
You know what?
I might be a cranky old man, but I'm still a bad motherfucker. So don't forget
That's a
that.
good point, because Tom turned into a cranky old fuck
When he moved to
Florida.
Boca,
Oh yeah, he's intolerable. Can't stand him.
Tom and Mark, they're kind of like you and me, Jack. 'Cause
We
I
just
think
don't
they're
let anybody
worse,
see it.
actually. I
Yeah,
think
well,
they might be the Robinsons and we're the Gallaghers.
We had a wine fueled night, red and white combined. It was bad. It was bad. Next morning, I had sticky skin from all the wine thrown at me. Yeah. that was horrible, yeah.
Hey, Jack, get off the show. Good night.
What?
I'm kicking you off. You passed your time limit. I know you got to go.
Guys, great seeing you.
Good
Have
seeing
a
you
good
too,
evening.
Jack.
What are you guys gonna go like another 3 hours?
I got to get up at 6:30.
No, we're going to start with the part of the show you don't like. It takes a half hour. We'll hit 2 hours. Trust me. We'll hit 2 hours.
Well,
But
Scott, the only thing that I want to say to you before I go is,
Here we go.
just
he's got his finger. I knew it. Like he had his finger on the clicker. I could see it coming.
There you go.
That was a bad setup. Like he's going to trick me.
He also missed the AI.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No AI tonight.
No, he's
No,
there.
he just commented.
He just commented.
How come I can't see it? Where is it?
Songwriters unite. Necessary evil. Rage against the
Cafe.
By the way,
My comments are all messed up. How do you see
right.
that and I don't?
all right,
Really?
Scott, can you just let me say one thing at the start of the show? My cousin, who is a new listener to your podcast, commented. Tommy
evening,
Benderwald.
gentlemen.
He is a great musician. He was growing up. He got me into so many different kinds of music, but he's listening now. He loves the show.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank
It's a
you.
shame you can't see this stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to hit refresh. Hold on. Let me see what happens here.
Whoops.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Stay on.
Ah! So when's the last opera show you saw, Lou?
The last time I saw it was Rigoletto.
I saw Axl Rose do some kind of opera. It was pretty good. He was
I think
a little overweight.
a lot of heavy metal, a lot of 80s heavy metal was based on opera.
Yes.
There was a lot of operatic singing, Ingrid Malmsteen.
What the fuck?
Who was
Ozzy
that?
come out to dun dun
There
dun
we
dun
go.
boom boom dun dun. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I still don't see the chat. It doesn't
Okay,
matter.
so
as
you want
long
me
as
to
he
read
was
you?
back.
You want me to read you some of the comments here?
Yeah,
Mark
yeah.
Flynn said dollars will get Oasis back together. He's right. Dave Phillips said Matchbox 20 still tours. Dave Phillips said, meanwhile, I'm watching this wearing my Hootie and the Blowfish 25th anniversary tour t-shirt.
He said it again. That's what he did last week.
Mark Flynn said, Mark and Lou are terrific.
Yeah,
he
he,
didn't say that.
I was going to say, of course he doesn't give me credit. Of course. Of
Dave
course.
Phillips said Jay Giles has 5+ studio albums and 2 epic live albums.
Whatever.
What?
Sorry, Dave.
Oh,
Sorry, Dave. I
man.
just sorry.
Whatever.
I'm staying out of
All
that.
right, I don't know what happened to my chat. Remember I told you it kind of logged me out earlier, and the chat has never logged out on its own before. But all right, so let's start with top 10 this week in 2011. 2011, number 10 this week in 2011. Look at Me Now with by Chris Brown, featuring Lil Wayne and Busta Rhymes. The Show Goes On at number 9, Lupe Fiasco.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Number 8 this week in 2011, Party Rock Anthem by LMFAO featuring Lauren Bennett and Goon Rock. Number 7, Till the World Ends, Britney Spears. Number 6 this week in 2011, The Lazy Dog by Bruno Mars. Number 5 this week in 2011, On the Floor, Jennifer Lopez featuring Pitbull.
Remember that one.
Yeah, number 4 this week in 2011, Just Can't Get Enough by the Black Eyed Peas. Number 3 this week in 2011, Give Me Everything, Pitbull featuring Neo, Afrojack, and Nair. Number 2 this week in 2011, E.T. by Katy Perry featuring Kanye West. And number 1 this week in 2011, Rolling in the Deep by Adele.
That was the Pitbull year. That was at that time.
Yeah.
He was on everything.
You know, he started off as like a rapper, like this hardcore rapper dude in Miami. He was around Miami. Tried to be like, thug and all that shit. And then he realized that dance music's where the money's at. So he turned into the dance music guy.
I got to give him props. He was honest. He was on Howard Stern. He says, what I do is not rocket science, but it works.
It works, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he had a good machine behind him. He built a good machine behind him. Because he pretty much he was around the Miami area for a while before he broke. He made a name for himself. Yeah. And Miami's one of those cities, right? It's one of those cities that if you can control Miami, then you can make it. But he had South America at his fingertips also.
Yeah.
So because it's the gateway to South America.
There's another nice guy from Miami who I spoke with and worked with on a couple things. Luther Campbell.
Yeah, you were saying that before.
And God bless him. He owns his material. And so one day you're going to see a relaunch of that stuff. It's going to come out again.
That would be interesting.
Smart guy.
Yeah. Top 10 albums or CDs this week in 2011.
Call them albums.
Il Volo by Il Volo at number 10. Number 9, Helplessness Blues by Fleet Foxes. Number 8, Never Say Never, the remixes, Justin Bieber. Number 7 this week on the CD album charts in 2011, Turtleneck and Chain by The Lonely Island. Number 6 this week in the top 10 album CDs of 2011, Hot Sauce Committee Part 2. Remember that one?
No.
It's a forgettable Beastie Boys album.
Oh, shit. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But it was up on the charts.
It was up in the charts maybe for a week. Number 5 this week on the top 10 album sales in 2011, Sigh No More by Mumford & Sons. They kind of came and went, right?
Fleet Foxes and Mumford & Sons. They were kind of from the same genre.
Yeah, kind of flash in the pan things, right?
Yeah. Marcus Mumford's gone on to do other things. Elvis Costello working on other things. He's got some solo stuff out now. Yeah. They had that sound there for a while.
Yeah. I never 11. Got into it.
Me neither.
Yeah. Number 4 this week in 2011 on the album charts, My Kind of Party by Jason Aldean. Number 3 this week in 2011 on the album charts, Now 38 by various artists. Number 2. Number 2 this week in 2011 on the album charts, Holding On to Strings, Better Left to Fray by Seether. And number 1 this week on the album chart, I think this one was at number 1 for quite a while, 21 by Adele.
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty sure that was on there for a while. Yeah.
Even Barnes & Noble. I remember walking in, you'd have books, and then they would have like a whole, just the CD 30 times on a shelf,
Yeah.
Adele.
That was the fat Adele. Right. The fat, like you have to differentiate. You had the fat Luther.
No,
and you had skinny Luther.
Fat. You're fat. You're cool.
No, she was FAT Adele. Like fat Luther and skinny Luther. You have to differentiate, right? Isn't that fucking great that all you have to say is Luther? And
fat Al Roker and skinny Al Roker.
Right?
Yeah, the fat and skinny Al Roker. Yeah, of the Weathermen.
Eddie Murphy referred to Luther in an early comedy skit as that big Kentucky Fried Chicken eating motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, that's the sandwich I make. That's the day after Thanksgiving. Yeah, the Luther. Yeah.
Oh boy.
You have to unhinge your jaws like an anaconda. Or something.
I do. It's a masterpiece. I do it live. I do a live stream.
This was my face watching it.
Yeah. I did. Then I did the. I did it on the. I used to do this. It was eggnog, not milk.
Oh my God! Oh.
I drink like a glass like this big. It's like almost a quart of eggnog
while eating a Luther.
No, I pound it down afterwards. That's what I wash it down with,
my gosh.
and I guzzle the eggnog. So last year I did it. And then I used to do these Friday night shows called The King of Facebook, right? These live streams. I was still doing them, I think, when you guys came around, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did it was toward the end. I haven't done them in a while, but it's taxing. It's very fucking taxing. I did them for 2 years. Very
It's all
taxing.
food
Acting on your
stunts.
toilet.
You got to be like up like on that. When I did that, I had to always be fucking wired on double, triple espressos. Just fucking. And I ate 2 of them.
Holy shit.
2 of them in a row.
Wow.
Yeah. And
No,
they're literally like 7 inches high.
Was each one swallowed, washed down with a glass of eggnog?
Yeah.
Went after, okay.
Oh, yeah.
How did you feel
Consistent.
afterwards?
I could probably be a professional eater. I don't really get like.
You got to get in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
I won't do that. I won't do that.
I did it one time. It wasn't like the 4th of July thing. It was an at work thing. I got 3 hot dogs in. I'm like, I'm going to be sick.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
Was that the night you had your Walkman and the Blue Oyster Cult cassette?
No, it was not. That was Asian buffet, like all you can eat Asian buffet, all you can eat and drink. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, you're not gonna let me live that down, are you?
Nothing like Budweiser and Chinese food.
Oh.
On this day in 2015, I did the 2022 with Liam Gallagher, #1 on the UK charts with "Come On, You Know." In 2015, Sir Elton John lost his cool during a performance at Gloucester's King Sholm Stadium in England after he likened a steward, which is a security guard, to Hitler, as she tried. Elton was just a bitch. As she tried to stop crowds from surging forward during one of his gigs. In an expletive-laden rant, John went on to say it was not China, and he picked out a female security guard telling her, "You put a uniform on and you think you're Hitler. Well, you're not."
Wow.
Queen.
Wow.
Queen bitch. Queen bitch.
The bitch is
Elton.
back.
The bitch is back. Sad day on this day in 2012. Bob Welch, early member of Fleetwood Mac, who enjoyed a solo career
Great.
with hits like Ebony Eyes, was found dead after an apparent suicide at his home in Nashville. He was 66.
Yep.
I remember that. Welch was part of Fleetwood Mac in their early years, the years that nobody remembers. 71 to 74, and worked on such albums as Future Games and Bare Trees that nobody buys.
And he had one of their biggest hits, Hypnotized.
Hypnotized, yeah.
Yep.
They also they did Sentimental Lady too. He was not inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when the rest of the band was.
Yeah.
That's criminal.
That's bullshit.
a crime.
Yeah.
Because he bridged the gap for them. He helped them
bridged the gap,
cross over. Yeah.
between Stevie and
He
Lindsey.
convinced Mick Fleetwood to come to California. That was
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go. Stolen valor. They
fucking
took it
Rock
from
and Roll
him.
Fame.
He was sick, wasn't he?
Yes.
He had a lot of neurological or
And he just couldn't take it anymore. Yeah.
Constant pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't take it.
And-
Evidently, he wrote like a 6 or like a very multi-long page love letter to his wife before he died.
Let's see.
Nice to bring the show down.
I'd like to.
I know. Well,
Scott
here's another
started.
one. On this day in 2010, former Stereophonics drummer and BBC Radio Wales presenter Stuart Cable was found dead at his home near Adernhan in Wales at age 40. His new band, Killing for Company. Well, that's kind of ironic.
And not in LA, but in Wales, where it
Yes.
rains.
Yeah. Let's see. On this day in 2010, Eagles guitarist Joe Walsh was granted a restraining order against an elderly neighbor who allegedly threatened to kill him. The man was also ordered to pay more than $1,500 in legal fees. What a pussy.
Yeah, 'cause
Joe
you know
Walsh
what?
is a pussy.
He couldn't drive away because he lost his license. Now he don't
Yeah,
drive.
now you don't drive.
Maybe the neighbor. Maybe his TV set went through his window into the neighbor's living room or something.
He gets a fucking restraining order on an elderly neighbor.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Jesus.
Well, the guy could have had a gun. Yeah, no.
Pussy.
Would have
Pussy.
been ornery.
Rock and roll pussy.
It's nothing like an ornery old man. I know Tom Spallone.
Fucking Ice Cube would have handled that shit. Ice Cube would have dealt with it. On this day in 2007, the funeral of guitarist singer Bo Diddley took place in Gainesville, Florida. Many in attendance chanted, "Hey, Bo Diddley," shortly after family members had passed by his coffin as a gospel band played Bo Diddley's music.
Wow.
At the service, they presented a floral tribute in form of the trademark square guitar.
I met Bo Diddley.
The Bo Diddley beat.
I got to call him Mr. Diddley.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Was he nice to you? Was he good?
Well, he was with a prostitute in his dressing room at the bottom line where I work.
Beautiful.
And we had to close, and I'm like, they're like, Lou, you got to tell Bo it's time to go. I'm like, I'm 23 years old. He's a legend, so I knock on the door. I'm like, Mr.
big.
Diddley, we're closing up. I'm like, I call him Bo. It'd be disrespectful. You know, this guy's a
Mr.
fucking legend.
Diddley, we're
Mr.
closing
Diddley.
up.
Yeah, just finish up there, Mr. Diddley.
Finish up, Mr. Diddley.
I was on the door going.
That's how you knocked on the door, right?
Yeah, dun.
Let me see something.
Oh, by the way, a little fact check. Patsy Cline is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I checked.
I didn't think so.
Yeah,
she
should be.
Yeah.
Wow.
But Sheryl Crow is.
Yeah. No.
Anyways.
And what's the name? Who's the other one? Carly Simon.
Carly Simon. Yeah.
Yeah.
On this day in 2002, Virgin Records announced they had dropped Victoria Beckham, formerly of the Spice Girls, after her debut solo album, which cost over $5.1 million to make, had only sold 50,000 copies.
That's as bad
That's a
as
Led Zeppelin.
the Robin Thicke follow-up to this big album. He sold like 50 copies, literally.
Yeah,
follow-up.
yeah. Robin Thicke, he came and went. That
he
one
crashed and burned
big time. Well, when you write a song, a very rapey song, I guess.
And it's
Blurred Lines.
That's right.
From somebody else, you know.
Blurred Lines did not get good, good write-ups. On this day in 1998, songwriter Wally Gold died in a New Jersey hospital, age 70. He wrote "It's My Party." "It's My Party," a hit for Leslie Gore, and "It's Now or Never," a hit for Elvis Presley.
Sure.
Member of the late 50s group, the Four Esquires, and produced "Kansas" and Gene Pitney.
Kansas, the band?
That's fucked up. What's his name? Wally Cox? What was his name? Wally Green? Mr. Peepers produced Kansas.
So he was producing 8-minute progressive songs?
Wally Cox.
Robbie Steinhardt, play your violin on this.
Wally Cox. What's his name? Wally Cox?
Hollywood Squares.
Wally Cox for the block. Jim,
he was underdog, wasn't he?
Wally,
he was underdog.
Wally Cox for the cock block. Jim,
Center Square.
Center Square. Oh shit! All right. On this day in 1997, Hanson started a 3-week run at number 1 on the UK single charts with Bob. Yep. Originally called the Hanson Brothers, which they had to get rid of because the Hanson Brothers were a TV show on Saturday morning in the 70s.
Oh.
Right. Lead singer Zach Hanson was just 13 years old at the time of the hit, one of the biggest debut singles of all time, reaching number 1 in 27 countries.
Wow.
They can retire on that motherfucker.
Did
They're
they write
still
that?
playing. I heard.
I
have loyal
think they
fans.
have,
Yeah.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. On this day in 1997, Oasis guitarist Noel Gallagher played a 5-song set at the Tibet Freedom Concert, Downing Stadium in New York City. U2, Patti Smith, and Radiohead also appeared at the concert. On this day in 1995, Radiohead guitarist Johnny Greenwood was admitted to hospital after his ear was leaking blood.
Cool.
The problem was diagnosed as his arm movement from continuous guitar playing.
Really? Made
What
his ear
the
bleed.
fuck?
But
And his
Pete
ear was
Townsend didn't
bleeding.
have that same problem. I mean,
Jesus.
Right? Right? Wow.
Oh,
I
wow.
think he was jamming
Something
Q-tips.
came
in
loose.
there.
Something came loose. Was he doing windmills?
I don't know.
Wow.
On this day in 1987, David Bowie played a concert in West Berlin. Zig Smitty was in the audience
Oh, shit. I got to.
in front of Reichstag with the speakers pointing towards the nearby Berlin Wall where thousands of young East Berliners stood and listened. How was that concert, Zig Smitty?
Mm.
Do you want me to sing In the Flesh for you?
Were you wearing your jack boots?
Here we go.
Who let all this riffraff into the room?
Zig Schmidt.
There's one smoking a joint, and
Is it
another with spots.
Is it safe?
If I had my way, I'd have all of you drink Yellowtail.
Yeah, it's safe, man. It's safe. It's safe. Is it safe? Sign the papers, old man.
Believe it. Yeah, really.
Sign the papers.
I am good with a dental drill. I am very good. Yeah.
On this day, do you ever hear the Cheech and Chong one? Sign the papers, old man. When they're watching TV and he puts a cigarette, he goes, "Oh, right in the eye, man."
Huh.
No, that's all you hear. Do you ever see Tommy Chong's wife?
Ray Dawn Chong.
No. That's his daughter.
That's his
Come
daughter.
on, you stop.
No, his wife's, she's like a cougar.
Really?
Like,
His new wife. Yeah.
I guess. But I saw pictures of him the other day. He turned like fucking 80 or something, but
wow,
she's a cougar.
Hey, that Roll on 70 show got him back in the game.
Yeah. I don't think their albums sell much anymore, but they're still getting money from the movies.
I still listen to them.
Best thing they ever did was the movies.
Oh,
they're still those are classic movies. Those are never gonna die.
Even the worst one is good.
Pee Wee Herman introduced Pee Wee Herman to.
Oh.
He played the bellboy.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
The guy behind the counter. Yeah.
And the Who introduced Sting with the bellboy.
Bellboy!
Gotta get buttoned up now.
On this day in 1977, Led Zeppelin played the first of 6 sold-out nights at Madison Square Garden in New York City during their 11th and final North American tour, playing a 3-hour set. Almost like it's like doing a Milk Crates and Turntables podcast.
Yeah, really.
Look at us.
It's almost like a Grateful Dead show.
Fucking check this out. Tickets cost $8.50 to $10.50 a piece.
Wow.
That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
77? I don't know.
All I know is I was supposed to see them. My sister had tickets, and Bonham had to fucking die.
I remember
what is
$12 rush tickets. Like, really?
And at the same time on this day in 1977, the Sex Pistols held a party on a boat as it sailed down the River Thames in London. Famous video, right?
Yeah.
See the video for that, right? The Pistols performed the original Yacht Rock. Yeah. Anarchy. They performed Anarchy in the UK outside the Houses of Parliament, resulting in members from the party being arrested when the boat docked later that day. I love that shit.
Cool.
Yacht Rock.
Yeah, the original Yacht Rock. Yeah. Again, on this day in 1975, Elton John's 9th studio album, Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboys, went to #1 on the U.S. album chart. The first album ever to enter the U.S. chart at #1, where it stayed for 7 weeks. He owned the 70s.
I heard that was his last great album. I've heard
that's
probably was.
That's his last good album, man.
Captain Fantastic
with the classic band lineup, I think,
is a concept album of the Elton John Band, as it used to be called originally.
Yeah,
the Elton John Band. His whole thing, not just Elton John. He was Elton John. Captain Fantastic is a concept album that gives an autobiographical glimpse at the struggles of John Captain Fantastic and Toppin, the Brown Dirt Cowboy, had in early years of their musical careers in London. So whatever that was, I never put that together.
It was probably in the liner notes. There's probably allusions to it.
The songs, evidently,
probably. Yeah. There's some great songs on that record, though.
On this day in 1969, The Who's 4th album, Tommy, entered the UK chart, peaking at #2, one of 2 full-scale rock operas from The Who. The other being the 1973 Quadrophenia. Which album is better?
Quadrophenia is my favorite. I sent that text. Did you put that thing up on the message board? See, it says host. I think you
yeah. It says X. Yeah.
Okay, I want to.
I can't see everybody else's for some reason.
Okay, all right.
I can't see it.
No, Quadrophenia.
Lou,
that is a tough one. I'm leaning toward Tommy.
Okay. Yeah. Can't go wrong with either one, I think.
My sisters would agree with you.
The reason I think Tommy is because of Keith Moon.
Yeah.
I think it's the most restrained they ever got him to be, in a lot of ways. And he still had that Keith Moon style, but like Quadrophenia, it's more of a rock album. You know,
I like dark.
I think. Yeah, I know you do. I like a lot of it too, but I think overall, and I just think the overall flow of it, I think Tommy to me is a better record. I mean, like I said, it's hard to.
I have to go Quadrophenia just because Out of My Brain on the 515. That was one of my favorite songs for the longest time.
The punk beats the Godfather, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it also had Bellboy.
Yeah.
I'll get
my
now.
lip button.
Let's see. On this day in 1969,
bloody
British supergroup Blind Faith, featuring Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, Rick Gretsch, and Steve Winwood, made their live debut at a free concert in London's Hyde Park. Their only album release provoked controversy because of the cover. It featured a topless pubescent girl holding a silver spaceship, which some perceived as a phallic symbol. The U.S. record company issued it with an alternative cover which showed a photograph of the band on the front. Rumors about the girl's relationship to the band fueled the controversy. Among them were that she was a groupie kept as a slave by the band members.
No, she was
So
Jimmy
back
Page.
then-
Page wasn't in Blind
Jimmy
Faith.
Page's girlfriend at the
Back
time. that's
then,
all.
they could do that. They could leak this shit to like Teen Magazine and Cream and Rolling Stone, and just to get the publicity, get the fucking people's attention, and it worked.
But they
Today,
didn't need to.
That's
Blind
the band that
Faith
should
were
have
a
been
super
bigger.
group.
The band should have gone and done another album.
if that happened, it would be the world would be upside down.
You know what?
It was
I don't know if I want to see a 13-year-old girl topless on.
It was kind of creepy, but given the times, Mark, I think that whole
Yeah, it's true. It was a
you know, I
different
mean,
time.
I was at a beach in Key West with my wife at the time, and like there's
Kids.
12
Yeah.
European girls
Yeah.
topless, you know. Like,
Scorpions had an album called Virgin Killer with a 12-year-old girl on the cover naked, and
oh.
they were like, people were like, what is that? It was the photographer's daughter. He put her on the cover of the album. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
You know? Yes.
It's European.
yeah.
Uh,
What about Houses of the Holy?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Butt shots.
On this day in 1969, Bob Dylan and Joni Mitchell both appeared on the first ABC TV Johnny Cash show from Ryan Auditorium in Nashville. Dylan sang I threw it all away and Living the Blues, and duetted with Johnny Cash on Dylan.
And a girl from the North Country.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to
A
be.
girl from the North Country, yeah.
If you're traveling to the north.
Let's see. On this day in 1964, during the first ever U.S. tour, the Rolling Stones were booed off stage at a gig in San Antonio, Texas. Some performing monkeys who had been the act on before the Stones were brought back on stage for another performance.
Mick was uglier than the monkey.
Oh, Lord, Lord,
great.
Lord. Oh, Lord.
Bring out the chimps.
And then Keith Richards killed the monkeys.
I still say they should be able to do this today. In 1964, on this day in 64, during a world tour, the Beatles flew from Amsterdam to Hong Kong. When the plane stopped to refuel in Beirut, police turned firefighting foam on hundreds of fans who invaded the runway. They should be able to do that today.
Wow, foam.
You want to stop a fucking riot? You want to
Shit,
stop
yeah.
them from breaking into a Nike store because someone got beat up by the cops, so I'm going to go steal some Nikes? Yeah, spray them with foam. Firefighter
That
foam.
stuff's cold.
Oh,
Yeah, remember those foamy fire extinguishers, like the home kind?
Yeah.
You ever get hit with one of those?
No.
I got a blast in the foot from so much time. I almost lost my toes, man. That shit was hot cold. Like, it was fucked up.
What kind of sexual games are you playing, Luke?
Here we
No,
go.
we were
On this day,
horsing around.
Is that
Moving
with your
on.
LinkedIn partner there? You know,
on this
off,
day in
I told them I'm off LinkedIn.
On this day in 1963, moving on, the Rolling Stones released their debut single, Come On. Recorded the previous month, a track was originally written and released by Chuck Berry in 1961. The B-side was also a cover version, Willie Dixon's I Want to Be Loved. The single reached number 21 in the UK on the chart. All right. Born on this day. Start from the bottom and work to the top. The late, great Dean Martin, born on this day in 1917. Born on this day in 1940. Tom Jones. That guy should have made it bigger.
oh yeah.
Right? What happened to him?
He had a hip resurgence in the 90s and stuff, but
he was gigantic in the 70s, 60s. He was
60s, yeah. But
Scott,
I mean,
did you ever see that video of him singing "Everyday People" with Sly Stone?
I might have.
It
I've
was
seen a
some
lot
variety
of his.
show, and when those two sang the chorus, they overloaded the mics. It was totally distorted because he had two huge voices.
Two
singing.
big voices, yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
the belt buckles were huge.
Yeah.
is that his real name? Tom Jones?
I don't know.
He's Wilkie Wilkinsack.
He's Rose.
Tom Woodward is his real name.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yep, Tom Woodward. Welsh singer who has sold over 100 million records.
Wow.
Scored the 65 UK number 1 and US number 10 single with It's Not Unusual. Plus over 20 other UK and US top 40 singles.
Great version of Kiss.
Yeah.
Including a Burt Bacharach, Hal David composition, What's New Pussycat.
Yeah. Let me see. He should be in the Rock Hall of Fame. But
He should be.
100 million albums.
Plus, he rocked. The guy
100
rocked.
million.
The guy, he did rock when he had to.
Yeah.
It's not unusual. That's got a great.
Look, rock doesn't matter anymore. It's pop.
Yeah.
He was pop. He was like pop music.
Yeah, yeah. He wasn't
contemporary
rock. He was
pop.
contemporary, adult, contemporary, whatever.
Yeah. Born on this day in 1944, American drummer Melvin Parker.
I know that name.
Whom?
Who him and his brother, saxophonist
Maceo.
Maceo.
Dale Parker.
Okay.
Maceo.
Maceo.
It's Maceo.
Maceo.
Maceo, basically. You know, you'd hear him say it every once in a while. Maceo.
Yeah.
Were key members of James Brown's band. Wasn't Maceo Parker? Wasn't he the head of that band?
He was like the musical director kind of guy.
Yeah, Maceo was were key members of James Brown's band. Parker was the drummer on 3 of Brown's recordings, Out of Sight, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, and I Got You, I Feel Good. Parker died December 3rd, 2021.
He was good for that drop bass drum thing. Boom.
Yeah.
I feel good.
Yeah. Check out the Amen beat, Lou, when you get a chance.
Yes.
I think you did.
The Amen break or something?
It's called the Amen.
Okay.
Yeah, when you and Jack were arguing, I actually looked at it on YouTube, and I know what you mean.
You got to hear it. Yeah. Let me see. Born on this day in 1944, Clarence White, American bluegrass and country guitarist and singer who was a member of the bluegrass ensemble Kentucky Colonels and the Byrds.
The Byrds, yeah. He's pretty legendary in those
session
circles.
Musician. Yep. Appearing on recordings with the Everly Brothers, Joe Cocker, Ricky Nelson, the Monkees, Randy Newman, Gene Clark, Linda Ronstadt, Olive Guthrie, and Jackson Brown, amongst others.
He died hit by a car loading his gear after a gig into his car.
Yeah.
See, that's the shit, Lou. Every episode you come up with one of those little gems.
They're kind of depressing.
Mark.
And I read a foot.
Mark, yeah.
And I read that, and they said it was a very gory scene. Like it must have been.
Oh, it had to be.
He was playing a club somewhere. I don't know who he's playing with, but he's loading his gear probably into the trunk or whatever. And some fool,
drinking. Yeah. By the way, Scott, Mark, I'll never be Lou. Lou knows everything. Lou and Perry
I don't
know a lot of shit. All right, they know.
You hold your own, buddy. We
I
all
know about
we
Led
all
Zeppelin.
hold our own.
Mhm.
We all hold our own in our
Literally.
respective specialties.
That's what
right.
it is.
That's
What
right.
it is.
We all
Next
hold
to
our
show.
own. Yeah. I just like saying I know things too.
I'm
Scott
smart.
knows things.
I know things.
I'm a Schmitty smart.
I wouldn't have lasted this long if I didn't know anything.
That's true. That's true.
3 years and counting.
Yep.
I say it this way: you've introduced me to so many albums. Like,
Yeah.
what's the one with the girl's head in the the funk album? The girl's head with the maggots.
Oh yeah, Maggot Brain.
I didn't know about that, and
I didn't
you
either.
got me into so many albums.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Funkadelic. Yeah. Parliament
Funkadelic,
Funkadelic. Yeah. Maggot Brain, one of the greatest guitar solos ever. That
Oh
song.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And a
Getz.
hell of a story behind that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Born on this day in 1958, the late and arguably the greatest Prince. That's it. You don't have to say any more.
I was gonna do a ding on that. I
Yeah.
heard it coming. Yes, absolutely.
But maybe, arguably, I mean, I always say Stevie Wonder is the most talented entertainer, musician.
Stevie Wonder's a freak.
I mean, people
That guy is
really.
just amazing.
So
People
he's
don't
a victim
know.
of saturation, right? Everybody's heard all his songs, all his hits, but they don't know how fucking talented
The
he
guy
is.
played so many instruments, and he was blind.
Since he was a kid,
Yeah, yeah.
right? I mean, he was famous when he was a kid, little Stevie Wonder.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You know, what's the song? Something number 2.
Not teardrops. What's it called?
You know what I'm talking about? And
The one with
there's
the
video
harmonica.
of it, and he's out there on stage, just fucking killing
Fingertips.
it. Yeah, number
Yeah.
2, right?
Yeah.
Part two.
Yeah.
Yeah, rest in peace. And Prince is, if Stevie Wonder is 1, then Prince is 1A
Absolutely.
or 1B. You know,
Yeah,
1B.
yeah.
I need to be convinced of that more, although I have a lot of respect for what he does. I've liked a lot of stuff, but I don't. His impact didn't hit me as much as it has other people.
Lou, what
Well,
may have
you
done it-
might not have been, and I'm not saying this in any. I'm sorry, Mark. I
That's okay.
notice how I say that to you, but I don't say it to Jack.
It cuts right in.
There you go. Maybe you just weren't paying attention, or maybe, but you know, I don't know how much of a fan you were.
I heard it, but it didn't hit me.
What
as much.
puts people off, I think, with Prince is he had that drum machine sound.
I don't.
And a
like
lot of
the-
people
I
just
don't
hear
like the
that.
sound of his records. That's one thing. Production wise,
Yeah.
I don't.
And that's what bothers. But if you like, it took me time. Like I was a teenager, I loved Purple Rain as a kid, and then I got into it. But then I was like, everything sounds the same when you actually listen to the composition. So take that drum machine out and just listen to what he was doing. He was, and then see any live footage of him. I mean, he's, you know, you think Bruno Mars is a good dancer. Now Bruno Mars is like a 10th of Prince. You know?
He tries to be Prince, but in Dirty Mind, I mean, just listen to how stripped down it's. I mean, it's such a stripped down album, right?
Mhm.
It's not overproduced. It's really not. It's a little underproduced if you listen to it now.
Yeah.
But no one had heard anything like that before.
Yeah.
Like how he came out with that, and he knew how to promote himself with the cover, and you know,
And
then-
he melded in the 80s, R&B was totally separate from rock, and he had both
well,
worlds.
you know, him and Rick James, huge feud. Like they
Really?
had a running rivalry. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. They were always paying attention to what the other one was doing.
I think Prince won.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. You know, but Rick James is a legend.
He is.
Oh, talk about
Like
heavy
you
funk.
can't take Prince.
But
Yeah,
he
took it to
burned
another level.
out.
Rick James is a legend. So you had two
Yeah,
legends.
Yeah.
Like China, and who would have you know, both of them end up with legendary status?
Yeah.
Because Rick James, okay, Prince ended up more evolved, right?
Yeah,
but
sure.
Prince, but Rick James was, and arguably still is the king of funk,
Yeah.
right? I mean, who came out after him that had the popularity that he had, the image that he had, the songs, every song he put out for a while it's Rick James.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Clarence
created
Trent,
this like larger than life persona that he lived. He lived inside of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he knew. If you watch and I think you might have watched it. Maybe you didn't. The Eddie Murphy True Hollywood Story from the Chappelle Show tells the Rick James stories.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, he lived inside that gigantic persona. So Rick James is a legend, and his music will never go away. But
No.
Prince evolved into icon status,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I think Prince, like we just had a comment from our AI bot Perry said synthetic horns and synthetic drums is a Prince sound for better or worse. I think
Until he got with New Power Generation.
Well, I say if you
Right?
just listen to his albums, it's one thing, but if you witnessed him live, now I never saw him live. I wish I did, but I've seen him live DVDs, and that's a whole nother level. It's like Jimi Hendrix's first album. Oh yeah, it's great, but saw Jimi Hendrix live is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
So
that's it.
Prince's original, his early stuff was synthetic horns and synthetic drums because that was the sound back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the funk
was the
sound. That
80s,
was the dance
yeah.
sound. That
It
was,
was- it
he
was an
wasn't
80s
looking for
production
rock and
sound.
roll.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually late 70s, early 80s is how he really is when he evolved into all that.
That's what people like. That's the thing amazing. He was putting out albums in the 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
think about it.
listen to Dirty Mind and then listen to his next album, Controversy, you
Mhm.
can see the evolution begin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like his first two albums, and then Controversy again. The evolution really started. He started to take off because he got more. He got deeper, and the sound got bigger, and the production got better.
Yeah.
They really invested in that, and then after that was,
1999, right?
no, Purple Rain, right?
No, 1999 was right before Purple Rain.
Yeah, 1999,
Yeah,
Little
yeah.
Red Corvette. That's right. Yeah.
Double album.
Which again, bigger, and then once he hit with the Revolution,
Oh,
Perry, that kind of synthetic drums was gone because he had a real drummer.
Yeah.
And he always had Dr. Fink. That's the one guy he's kept with him the longest. The keyboard player, Dr. Fink. He made it through the revolution. He was at New Power Generation. He always kind of picked up new bit. Dr. Fink stayed with them the whole time because they had a good chemistry.
Was he with them to the end?
No, I think toward the end, Dr. Fink, I think, kind of just said, "Hey, all right, I had enough," and he made a lot of money with Prince.
Yeah,
very quietly. He didn't ever try to get the limelight. You know, he wore the surgeon's mask, right?
Yep.
That's why they call him Dr. He never looked for publicity, right? He had all the right to. Wendy and Lisa had all their shit going on, right? But he didn't. He was just kind of
you know, when COVID hit, I had to do a tour of the OR to put signage up. So when you go in the OR in the hospital, you have to put scrubs on. So I come out in the scrubs, but because it's COVID, I had to keep the mask on. And I went in the hallway, and someone that I know said, "Dr. Fink."
You
all right, bring it on.
There you go. Born on this day in 1962, Michael Cottalone.
Italian name. I think Lou knows.
Drummer.
Went to school with him.
Drummer for Damn Yankees.
Really?
He also worked with John Fogerty, Peter Frampton, Freddie Mercury, Cher, Adrian Belew,
wow,
and Leonard Skinner.
That's eclectic.
Yeah. Born on this day in 1966, Eric Kretz. Zig Schmitty. Every time I hear a German name.
Fuck you.
American musician, producer, and drummer with Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Along with lead vocalist Scott Weiland, Kretz wrote the lyrics for the Grammy Award-winning hit Plush.
Violent. Scott Weiland.
No, not going to work. Born on this day in 1967, the great guitarist Dave Navarro, right?
Great
of
tattoo
Jane's
artist.
Addiction, and then Red Hot Chili Peppers, worked with Alanis Morissette. Let me see. Don't need to know that one. And born on this day in 1991, for all you let's say recent rappers, Fetty Wap, American rapper Fetty Wap, had the debut single "Trap Queen." I actually like that song. Reached number 2 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 chart in 2015, and his eponymous debut studio album peaked at number 1 U.S. charts.
What was his name again?
Fetty Wap.
Fetty the Wap?
Fetty Wap.
He was in Goodfellas. Okay.
Yeah. And that's it, gentlemen.
Yeah.
2 hours, 12 minutes.
That's a sure one.
Jeez, Jack left a half hour ago. Seems like hours ago.
Can me and Lou have, next time Jack comes on, can me and Lou have a PTO day so we can actually watch the show like we used to?
You can.
And watch you guys.
You can. Yeah.
You know, I felt bad interrupting, like just like it was great. Your
Interrupt
chemistry.
him all you want.
No.
Yeah, see, Lou, see how the teams kind of formed here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The alliances formed. But
I'm telling you, Lou is defending Scott.
That's right. You know why? Because Lou knows the right dog to bet on in this one. Lou knows the right dog.
Mama didn't raise no fool, you know.
Because Lou knows that you like Italian food. That's what it is.
You like Italian food too.
Chicken parm, man.
Who doesn't?
Exactly.
Mark's an eggplant parm kind of guy.
Really? It has to be really good eggplant, but
It's got to be, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a hit or miss. You don't know. If you find a place that has good eggplant, you got to stick with it.
Yeah.
You know?
I found a new good pizza place in Asheville, 828 Pizza.
All right. Well, I'll be
more
up
of a brick oven, but they have a full menu too. But there's places.
Most likely, I'll be up there at the beginning of September, my friend.
Oof, I might have to bomb you guys.
You might have to take a road trip down. That's right, buddy. That's it. Again, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time, your knowledge, your contribution, your friendship. I truly appreciate it. As everybody has already pointed out, a bunch of people today, it's a benefit to the show. And that's why you're locked in, whether you like it or not. You're locked in.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Patty, thank you for watching. Patty Ossie, she always watches to the end.
Patty.
She always
Thank
watches.
you,
Yeah, she's a great fan. And Again, we will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat station. Like I always say, you people are the engine that runs this machine. Without you, it'd just be me talking to these guys about music and arguing with Jack, and I do that anyways. So why not not get paid to do it and just put it out and everybody else to see it? Why not? And doing this show for you, doing this podcast for you. Oh, by the way, if you like it, share it. Hit all the, if you're on YouTube, hit all the alert buttons, subscribe, and pass it on to your friends. And
You hear that, cuz Tommy? Share
you
it.
go.
Let
Pass it
everybody
on.
know about it.
just don't listen to the first 30 episodes. They're pretty raw.
They're better than they're better than Music Relish's first episodes.
Yeah, it doesn't make them good though. The content is good. The quality is a little sketchy. A little sketchy. And of course, doing this show for you guys, to quote my favorite artist, Morrissey, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. And I'll be back next Wednesday going to Vero Beach for the weekend with Dr. Vera.
Nice.
Yes, yes. She's
Say
hooked
hi
us
to
up
Dr.
once again.
Vera for us.
I will. I
Yeah.
And I'm going to get off this. She's going to say, how was the show? And I'm going to say, good. And she said, how did the guys do? Good. You know, and I play little parts and she hears it and she laughs, you know? So, you know. Anyways, gentlemen, thank you again. I'm sure I'll be talking to you, texting you, however, tomorrow or whenever. And Lou, check out the Amen break or the Amen beat, whatever it's called. And we will see you next week. Say good night, gentlemen.